to see some mud bogging, but first, Everett Jasmer in his very popular monster truck, USA 1. We're going to see some heavy-duty car-crushing crossovers.
And he's joining the most famous monster truck in the world, Bob Chandler's Bigfoot. This is what the crowd has come to see. First, they line up on opposite sides of the parked cars and attempt to cross over facing each other.
Well, there's near 60,000 people here to watch this, and I'll tell you, it's not nearly as easy as it looks. As you can see, the drivers have to be very careful in just exactly where they position. Oh, way up in the air.
Wheel stand for sure, Everett Jasmer.
Jasmer, by the way, is from Spring Lake Park, Minnesota. He's a real engineer when it comes to building these monster trucks.
Well, the king of the monster truck, Bob Chandler, hails from the St. Louis area and has literally written a book on monster trucks. In fact, he built Bigfoot as an advertisement for his four-wheel drive business back in the Midwest.
Oh, just look at these two. What the power, the horsepower involved there.
Bigfoot 1 is actually the first of the monster trucks. It's a 74 modified Ford pickup. It is using the 460 cubic inch Ford engine.
That windshield just went, Gary, or I guess there was a rear window.
And both of these trucks are over 11 feet in height. And Bigfoot 1 is utilizing 14 shock absorbers to help cushion the ride over these cars. We talk about 4x4x4. Well, that simply means that it's four-wheel drive with four-wheel steering.
You know, Gary, just the tires alone, the heavy-duty excavation-type tires, are 66 inches tall, 11 feet. You know, I think that's even higher than Isaiah can jump.
There goes some more glass. And I had the chance once to ride with Bob Chandler, and it's quite a thrill to be strapped inside this monster vehicle.
And as I mentioned earlier, it's a lot more dangerous than what it appears. It's very slippery up there on top of the painted roofs of these cars. There's the pride and joy of Chevrolet, the pearl-painted USA #1.
And Bigfoot really is an exciting truck. Now with the mud pit deeper and muddier, here come the two stars of the show, USA 1 and Bigfoot, to take their punishment in the thick, oozy, slimy, what would you call it, Larry?
Gary, I think I'd call it yuck. Do these guys really want to be called stars who are going through all of this?
I really wonder what makes the fans love to watch these monster trucks in the mud take such abuse.
Well, I don't think anybody's quite figured it out yet. It must be vicarious in some way or another, but I think the real answer is they don't have to clean these trucks up afterwards, Gary.
Well, Jasmer tilts and weaves his way through the mud, flinging it all over the Pontiac Silverdome. And eventually, USA 1 bogs down in about 4 feet of mud.
You just can't believe all the time and effort and man-hours that went into making this truck shiny before all this began.
Well, Jasmer is pulled out after bogging down by a cable attached to a tractor at the starting line.
Well, a lot of work that goes into getting these trucks in here, and sometimes a lot of work goes into getting them out of this mess, Gary.
Time now for a hose of pressurized water and a chamois.
Here's the king of the monster trucks once again, and we asked Bob Chandler, hey, Bob, what do you think about just before your next mud run?
You take a nice, clean, shiny truck and you hit that mud, and all you can do is put your foot to the floor and hope you're going straight to the pit. You've got 30 or 40 hours of cleaning once you get out of the mud, and you give it all you got.
Big Bob Chandler's about to give it all he has. He's been flagged away. He puts 460 cubic inches to work. It's a simple matter of locking the rear end in place and putting the pedal to the metal.
Well, Gary, an activity that once was nothing more than backyard grins has become a profession for all these people.
Oh, look at the fire.
Well, Gary, not only fire, but on the flip side of the coin, rust, believe it or not, is one of the biggest problems in maintaining these vehicles because they're in wet mud so often.
That's true. Bob Chandler says the major problem is replacing all the body panels during the season.
Well, as you can see, the crowd loves Bob Chandler, and Bob Chandler loves the crowd.
Kurtz, Mike Galloway, Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan. It's time for the main event of the evening, the Battle of the Monster Trucks. I am upstairs. Mike Galloway is on the floor of the Silverdome, and the excitement's got to be building down there, Mike.
It's getting very exciting. I'm right along the side of the track that the Bigfoot truck will be running on. He's going to go up against Cliff Starbird's Monster Vet out of Mulvane, Kansas. Of course, we all know the Bigfoot truck out of St. Louis, Missouri, out of Hazelwood, right at the edge of St. Louis. Jim Kramer, the #1 man doing the driving tonight. This is going to be very good competition. Now, it's side-by-side racing for the first 100 foot, pulling the sled. Then you come to a complete stop. Your crew goes out and unhooks your truck. And when the crew clears the track, then you proceed on down to the end of the 200 foot, make a U-turn over a 6-car area and to the finish line. Now, the front tires must be on the cars. So this is the side-by-side action that will take place here tonight. It's going to be exciting, and it will be tough. All the guys are here for one reason and one reason only. They want to put Bigfoot in his place. One elimination, one loss in this competition, and you retire for the night. It is an elimination competition with the 2 best trucks coming in the finals.
All set to go now. First heat. This is the Bigfoot truck, the closest to your screen. The Monster Vet on the far side. Want to pick a winner, Mike?
I'm going to have to take the Bigfoot truck in this first round. He's got a good crew. He's got the people that are pretty experienced in what they're doing. They know how the action works. There's crews right out there beside the track. He's got Andy unhooking. Andy has also driven a Monster Bigfoot truck from time to time. Starbird is a good running car, but I don't think he can beat that big blown Ford motor sitting under the Bigfoot truck.
Here we go.
Bigfoot's got a lead.
Bigfoot's got a big lead.
Bigfoot has covered him about a length of a sled, a bump up against the Bigfoot truck, and they got a little bit of a problem unhooking it. Andy's having problems. He's got him unhooked. Jim Kramer's on his way. He's making a turn. Now, he will show no mercy. He wants to win this. Starbird's short car makes a good spin. Watch out. It's the finish line. Kramer lines up. High-flying Bigfoot. He's over. He's over. It's Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
It's Bigfoot in a romp. Bigfoot wins it going away. Monster Vet finishes crushing the car, but Bigfoot an easy winner here in our first heat.
Well, Starbird gave it his best, but it just wasn't enough tonight to put away that blue truck out of Missouri, and it's going to take a lot of competition to put that truck home tonight. It looks to be the truck to beat. Now, let's watch him.
Second heat now, you're looking at Barefoot. That'll be on the near track, track 2, Fred Schaefer from Illinois in the Barefoot truck, and the opposition provided tonight by the Toy.
The Barefoot truck is a blown big block Chevrolet. Jim Schaefer out of Granite City, Illinois. Fred is really good at this. He's one of the early builders of monster trucks, and he'll be awful tough. I think he'll probably put this one away if he doesn't have some kind of mechanical problems. He's running this big blown Chevrolet on alcohol. He's going to be going up against the truck from here in Michigan called the Toy. The little Toyota truck that just makes its home right down the road a little ways from here, the Dome. And he's got a tough battle. He would have to be a decisive underdog, but here's a young man that will take one of them to the limit.
Barefoot against the Toy. Again, they pulled the sled 100 feet, unhooked, then whipped down the track down towards the 200-foot mark. They have to make a 90-degree turn, come back the other way, and then flatten 6 cars on their way to the finish line.
Now, the Toy will probably have an advantage once he gets unhooked from the sled. The sled is going to be a big problem to him. He doesn't have quite the horsepower that Fred's got with the Barefoot truck. Fred ought to pull a hole shot and cover him pretty good right there going for the 100-foot mark. Once they unhook, that Toy's a light truck. It's real maneuverable, and it does a good job.
Cars are a little smaller. They don't stand quite as high as they did a run ago. As we look down the line, the Barefoot, of course, we had in competition, not quite competition like this, in a show we did on ESPN out in Anaheim, and that's the night that Barefoot flipped.
This is the new Barefoot. This is the 88 version of it.
Barefoot and the Toy.
Well, they're lined up. The crew is with their helmets on, ready to go in and jump in and unhook and get clear from the track. Setting on the line. There's Green. Schaefer pulled the wheel stand. The Toy is having problems. The Toy has broken the rear end of the truck. He's pulling off the front tires only, and he's really having a trouble battling that sled down the track. That may be all of it for him.
Should be an easy win for Barefoot. Makes a nice, easy turn now.
Well, probably looking across track. He knows he's got this one in hand, so he won't hammer it too hard.
He hammers it pretty good. And Barefoot is an easy winner.
And a wheel stand as he crosses the finish line. Well, that's the style of Fred Schaefer, as he lets you know that he's here to do business.
Another heat. Duraliner getting all set to line up. Looks like Heartbeat is on the other side.
This is going to be a great race. Real good race. The Duraliner Giant running a brand new motor, a Butch Schultz built blown Ford motor, and he's up against the Heartbeat of America. Now, the Heartbeat of America truck is brand new. This is the first time that Brett has had this truck out, and he goes up against some hard competition in the Duraliner Giant in first round here in the Dome.
So far, Bigfoot has won, Barefoot has won, and now Heartbeat of America against Duraliner. Competition continues here, Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan.
Well, the Duraliner truck is a very well-prepared truck. They've had some problems with it in the past, but hopefully those are all in the past. And see if this truck can't pull off a big win here tonight as he goes up against the brand-new Chevrolet truck. It's called the Heartbeat of America. It'll be a good race. It's Ford against Chevrolet. There'll be a lot of splits here tonight.
There's what they're shooting for, those crushed vehicles.
And they have done them in completely. If you can imagine all the other trucks that are still to go. You know, the cars get a little flatter, the trucks get a little faster, they get a little more air underneath them, and they will really hammer hard.
How important is the pit crew, Mike?
It seems like tonight, Bob, this is very important, is getting in there and getting unhooked and getting off that track. The pulling part of it has really been a difference in some of the early competition.
Is it different downstairs than it is from our vantage point up here?
Very much so, Bob Kurtz, because these trucks are flying very high, only about 10 foot from where I'm standing, and it makes you wonder sometimes if they've got them all down pat. Heartbeat having some problems. Duraliner Giant is out on top. The Duraliner Giant makes a good pass. He goes past the mark. He shuts off. There's his crewman in there. He's unhooking very, very quickly. Sends him the go-ahead. The Heartbeat has problems. But watch this. The Duraliner Giant, I don't think he'll show any mercy. He wants to win this one for the company. Here he goes. Lines up, gets back in shape. He's got to get the front tires up on the cars and off the cars. Here we go. Watch out, watch out. Broke the front tire off of it right here in front of me. He has just destroyed the left front tire. Kurt Dabney has broken the left front tire as it went up in the air and crashed. And look over there on the other side. Look to the other side. The Heartbeat of America has just rolled the rear axle out from under that truck. We've got monster trucks laying everywhere tonight. They're all over the place.
Unbelievable competition, but Duraliner Giant with the broken left front tire has not crossed the finish line. Not that it's going to make any difference because Heartbeat of America looks like it's in a couple of pieces over on the far side. But there's some major damage, Mike.
We need some very large wreckers. They rolled the rear end section out of the Heartbeat of America truck. And we mentioned earlier it's a brand new truck. And what you're looking at, or was looking at earlier, are the flanges that hook the rear axle to the traction bars and the shock. It has snapped the bolts off. You can tell the bolts have snapped off the rear axle. The springs are there. The shocks are there. The flanges are gone. They're ripped out and on the rear axle.
Next round of competition, Excalibur on the track closest to our cameras. Sampson is on the far side. And Mike Galloway is on the floor.
Boy, this is going to be one great race. The young man that drives the Excalibur truck knows no fear. He will go hammer down as hard as the truck will go. Don Maples, driving the Sampson truck out of Huntsville, Alabama, will hammer that truck. He says he built it, he can fix it, and he will go at it hard and heavy. The Sampson truck, supercharged alcohol Chevrolet. The Excalibur is a carbureted supercharged Chevrolet on gasoline. Sampson maybe with just a little bit more horsepower, but Sampson's also pulling a bigger set of tires, a set of 66s. The Excalibur, a little bit smaller tire, I would venture to say watch the Excalibur truck. He could very well clear all 6 of these cars.
It's about set to go. Remember, Bigfoot and Barefoot are the 2 winners so far. Heart of America and Duraliner both broke down in the last heat. The Toy and the Monster Vet have been eliminated.
Look at Sampson all the way in the air. Don Maples is carrying the front end. Excalibur's having a little bit of a problem. Maples is there. He's stopped already. Excalibur is just now shutting down. Maples has the advantage going into this part of it. Maples makes a clear start. He's covered him by 5 car lengths. Maples in the air. But watch Excalibur. Watch Excalibur. He will make up the time right on this one.
He made the turn.
He'll straighten it out. Watch him fly. Watch him fly.
Wow!
Look at that! Look at that!
Excalibur came from behind to win it.
Don Maples almost lost his when he hit the car. Excalibur, as we talked about before he went into the competition, when he straightened it out, he went wide open, hit the cars. He never backed out of the engine.
Final first heat competition, the Virginian Giant is the closest to us. Deal Wilson, Winchester, Virginia, and on the far side, it's Wild Stang.
Cliff Starboard in his new Mustang convertible goes up against Deal Wilson and the Virginia Giant. We talked to Deal earlier. He said this was the first time he had been in this type of monster truck competition. But believe me, Deal Wilson will not let this be the last time. This man is a capable driver. We saw him earlier in his funny car break an oil line, and we know that caused him some problems. He's got a big blown Hemi under the hood. Let's see if Deal Wilson can pull off a win over Cliff Starboard. Now, Starboard's blown Mustang, called Wild Stang, is a convertible, and he's very capable with it. It's a short vehicle. It's got a good quick turning radius. It's got a blower motor in it. It's going to help him on the start and over the cars. But right now, pulling this sled is going to be a very tough thing for both of them. I think Deal Wilson may have the advantage in the sled part of it, and the Mustang may have an advantage on the latter part of it. So we'll wait and see as this competition gets real close. Green light, and Deal Wilson is in the lead. The Virginia Giant. A big lead for Deal Wilson. A big lead.
Giant wins the sled competition. Now let's see what transpires from here to the end.
Watch Deal. Cliff Starboard having problems getting unhooked. Deal looks back. Looks across. Watch Deal, though. He'll line up, wants to make sure everything's all right. He feels like he's got a little pad.
Well, he got a pad because the Mustang, the Wild Stang, took a wide turn and took himself right out of it, and the Virginia Giant is the winner.
Look at Cliff. Look at
out.
Cliff. Broke it. He broke the right rear tire off of it. The right rear tire is completely torn from the car, as is the left rear tire. He's trying to cross the finish line. We have destroyed monster truck and monster cars tonight like there's no tomorrow. If anyone has a couple of 5-ton military axles laying around, Cliff Starboard and a number of other people could sure use them.
Virginia Giant, it looks like against Sampson.
Sampson rolls the slack out of the chain, and this will be a very tough one. Ford against Chevrolet. Don Maples against Deal Wilson. Watch out. This is going to be a real close race. I think the hitching is going to be important. Both of them in wheel stand. Both of them side to side. Both of them very, very close. This is where it's going to make them or break them. The Virginia Giants loose. Sampson loose. They both make the turn side by side. This is important. Deal Wilson heads into the straightaway. Wilson has the lead. The Virginia Giant is in the lead. Watch out. He's up. He's up. The Virginia Giant is still making track. The Virginia Giant takes the win.
Now Virginia Giant took the lead in the pit. Both trucks looked like they were pretty even, Mike, as far as pulling the sled the 100 feet, but they got unhooked from Virginia Giant a little quicker than they did from Sampson, and then the Virginia Giant was able to use that time to win the heat.
Well, Bob, we found out that the reason we're seeing these trucks in competition is that the Bigfoot truck has been disqualified. Now, we're going to try to get an explanation of this before the end of the competition, and we'll let you know what develops out of this situation.
But Barefoot and Excalibur Now battle here with the favorite Bigfoot on the sideline.
Watch the Excalibur truck. Now he's in the left-hand lane. That lane has been a terrible lane for a lot of drivers tonight. But watch the Excalibur truck. He could be the one to beat in this round of competition. Fred Schaefer carries.
Barefoot with the early lead.
Now Fred Schaefer will show no mercy. Fred Schaefer will show no mercy. He will hammer the Barefoot truck if he gets away. Uh-oh, Excalibur. Excalibur has pulled off a quicker start. This will be close to the finish line.
Here we go.
From your vantage point, Bob. Here we go.
Excalibur has the lead. Excalibur in the air. And Excalibur is the winner.
Well, Bob Kurtz, my vantage point would not tell me who won that one. I think it was the Excalibur truck.
It was, Mike.
Well, I've got Jim Kramer with me on trackside. Jim, what happened?
Well, I was officially disqualified my first run. Something about not a clean break in the sled. My track man, which was unhooking me, I guess did not make it over the line in time before I started my forward motion. I will be officially out of the competition. I will be allowed, I think, if these guys are nice enough to let me come back and grudge race the winner.
We're taking a look at it on the monitor right here, and there's Andy going in, and you've come to a halt.
That's correct.
So now he has to clear the track before you leave.
See that white line? It'd be hard to see from here, but that white line, he has to cross that line. He came out and saw his helmet in his arm, but he was not fully across the line. U.S. Hot Rod Association has established that rule, and that's why we have rules. I broke one, and I'm paying the consequences.
But you're going to try to come back and run the winner in a grudge race?
If he's nice enough to let me run him, I sure would like to take that Ford out there and run that winner.
And down to trackside and Mike Galloway.
Ford versus Chevrolet, a classic confrontation for the final round. This will be very close. It could go down to the last set of cars. Both of these have been very strong in the pulling part of it. Dale Wilson, of course, a veteran puller. Watch the Christmas tree. There's the red. Here comes the green. They're counting down. Here goes. There is no definite advantage. The sled just got the lights wiped out. Virginia Giant takes a gigantic lead.
Here comes the turn.
Back. Here comes Fred Schaefer. He's going to try to win it right on the last card. He'll do it.
Not yet, he won't. No count out Barefoot yet. It is the Virginia Giant. That is unofficial, Mike, but upstairs it looked like the Virginia Giant won.
Bob Kurtz, that was one heck of a race. Fred Schaefer went across with the front tires about 3 foot in the air. We're going to wait on an official's decision.
And now, apparently, they're flashing on the scoreboard that we may have a grudge match. The Virginia Giant against Bigfoot. I think that may have gone through, Mike.
Well, I think it shows a lot of sportsmanship on the part of Dale Wilson, the Virginia Giant. As he's made the passes, didn't have to come back, but he's gracious enough to go up against the Bigfoot truck tonight. Nothing would suit him more than to win this grudge match up against the legendary Bigfoot. And that way he would say he's taken it home fair and square. Jim Kramer on the inside, side closest to the camera. It's going to be close. They both have pulled the sled extremely well. They both made great turns. Dale Wilson's done well over the cars. Here we go. It is side by side. They are side by side. Now we'll wait on Bigfoot. We'll know his man will clear the track. Bigfoot clears the track first. Bigfoot's out on top. Dale Wilson is still at the sled. Dale has problems and cannot come back. What? Kramer! Look out!
Wow!
Look at that!
The Virginia Giant never got unhooked, and Kramer had Bigfoot way up in the air, and he wins easily.
And here's Bigfoot getting ready to stage, and he's got some fans cheering him on. Jim Kramer climbing up into that truck.
It's a 1988 Ford F-250 with a 548 Ford V8 engine. Weighs it. Look at this. Look at these people. I don't believe that. 15,000 pounds, and here he comes. The current world record is 56 feet.
Now he's been pacing off the entrance there, determining at what point he's got to start to get enough speed to get that distance he's looking for.
Bob and Marilyn Chandler introduced the first Bigfoot back in 1973 in their garage in St. Louis, Missouri. Now there's a cone set up at the 56-foot mark, and here we go. The first jump, the crowd standing and cheering, slams into the dirt and flies over. I don't think he made a record jump, Margot. I don't think he was quite 56 feet.
Let's hope the slow-mo camera gives us an angle. Maybe we can see that cone.
Yep, that cone was set at 56 feet. That's the world record mark.
We couldn't see the cone, but we heard from the floor that he made it 42 feet.
42 feet, the first jump for Bigfoot. Again, he's got to beat 56, and here's the second run. The crowd standing again. A little more speed this time. He hits it, and he's further. It looks like we may have a new world record. The crowd applauding.
We saw the cone that time, Larry. I think for sure
Way
he made
past
a record.
it. He made 70 feet, a new world record for a monster truck jump. Flying through the air and landing 70 feet past his launch. Incredible. Bigfoot. Bounces and comes down hard. Look at him throws him forward against the steering wheel.
Those tires absorbing all that impact.
Boy, they have to. He is just bouncing.
Maybe a few new dents in his helmet, too.
All right, we set now for the third run. 42 feet, 70 feet. Can he go more than 70 feet? I don't think he's got the speed. Nope, he comes down early. The original record, 58 feet, 56 feet rather. Spins around. Kramer doing a masterful job of driving that big Ford Bigfoot. He waves to the crowd. Look at him, and they love him here at Pontiac, Michigan. Jim Kramer, a 58-foot jump, but he sets a new world record with 70 feet. And now the side-by-side battle of the monster trucks. This is Michael Vatter's Black Stallion, a 1988 Ford F-350 with a 466 Ford engine. On track 1, that's the far side.
Closest to you on track 2, we've got Larry Tura on Hercules, a 1985 Ford Ranger.
The Black Stallion out of Hagerstown, Maryland, 23 years old. Michael Vatter's 600 horsepower, C6 automatic transmission. And Hercules, a big block Ford 472 engine with a C6 transmission.
We'll be seeing Larry's brother, Al, a little bit later on in this competition, driving Goliath.
Now, it's important to note they are running side by side, and the Silverdome is a big enough stadium to allow this. They're going to race against each other, side-by-side competition over the cars. And there they go. The Black Stallion, the far lane, hits the cars first. Hercules slows way down, comes back off, and now catches up to the Black Stallion. Now the Stallion pulls away, and Hercules has stopped. And it is the Black Stallion sweeping around and taking home the bacon.
A real aggressive run for the Black Stallion. He did not hesitate one moment to take care of business.
Nope, you can't do that. You just got to put your pedal to the metal and go over those cars. Here's a full tilt body of Hercules. He's still running very slowly. That's a flip-top funny car monster truck. Oh, listen to the crowd. They like that.
The only flip-top truck that you can actually drive while the entire body is flipped up.
You can't see, however. That's one of the problems. You can't see, but you can drive it.
A lot of heavy-duty rewiring went into that system.
Coming up now, Samson versus Goliath in the Battle of the Monster Trucks here from the Pontiac Silverdome. Beautiful machines, each costing well over $100,000, $150,000 now. And that's Samson. Driver is Don Maples. He's 40 years old of Huntsville, Alabama. It's 1985 Chevy Silverado, the big block Chevy engine. He'll go up against Goliath, driven by Alan Tura of Warren, Ohio, the 1979 Ford twin-engine Ford F-350.
That twin-engine truck is a showstopper when he gets all of his lights and all of his motors roaring.
Okay, here we go. Samson against Goliath. The battle of the mythological heroes.
We'll see who's ready to race in this one.
Boy, I'm telling you, looks like Samson is ready and gets off the line faster. Now slows down, comes up in the air. This is where it's dangerous. And people ask us, do these machines crash? Yes, they do. They crash, but Sampson makes it through first.
And Big Toe is up against, on track number 1, Lethal Weapon, driven by Jerry Richmond out of Ashtabula, Ohio. What a name.
Track 2, Big Toe. Ray Perkowski comes out here. That's a 20,000-pound machine. That's only 2,000 pounds lighter than the tanks. 79 Ford F-350 tow truck. And here we go. Lethal Weapon gets off the line a little faster. It's quite a bit lighter. Now Big Toe comes in, and Lethal Weapon stops. Big Toe makes his way over very slowly over the cars. Lethal Weapon is out of the competition. Big Toe wins this round, but a very slow run.
He was posing for pictures up there.
That's right. Lethal Weapon is sitting up there on top posing for pictures. He's not real happy. Jerry Richmond is not real happy about this. Got to be real embarrassing to a driver. Now he gets it started and comes off. Here's Big Toe making his way back around, but a relatively slow run for the tow truck.
Well, he doesn't want to twist any drive shafts.
I don't blame him. They cost an awful lot of money. And there's Lethal Weapon waving to the crowd. Jerry Richmond waving, and there's Big Toe making his way back. We go now to the Monster Tanks.
And in his debut appearance, we've got Barefoot Tracks, driven by 29-year-old Steve Bivens from Pontoon, Illinois. This is a 1988 Chevy truck powered with a 505 Chevy engine. And this baby weighs 22,000 pounds.
It's an M4 personnel carrier tank, and these guys are serious. 22,000 pounds, that's 11 tons, Margot King.
More than I want to have run over me.
He'll go up against Gator on the right side of your screen. This is a beautiful machine out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. The owner-driver, 33-year-old George Cole. We're set to go. Gator coming up against Bear Tracks. First time ever on a track for Bear Tracks. Both weighing in at about 11 tons. There's Gator. We are set to go. And the crowd leaning forward with anticipation, and they rock off the line. They don't get that fast to start compared to the Monster Trucks because of their weight. But look at Barefoot Tracks, over and done. He's finished the race. This guy doesn't mess around, Margot. He just goes right through or over it. He doesn't stop.
Might have been his first race, but he's been on the crew of the Barefoot team for quite a few years. But Spanky, he had a good run. He just didn't win.
Barefoot Tracks takes home the bacon here, the first round of the Monster Tanks. And Gator goes off to hide in the swamp. So this is the Monster Truck Final. And the winner of this event will take on Barefoot Tracks. Track 1, Black Stallion, Michael Vatters. Beautiful machine there on the right. Track 2, that's Sampson, Don Maples, driver owner, and Sampson gets off the line first. He is gassing. Now he slows way down and gives the Black Stallion a chance to go in front. The Black Stallion almost goes on his head. They are neck to neck, wheel to wheel, across the line. Looks like, well, possibly Sampson. I think Sampson won that by about a foot, Margot. That was a mighty close race.
Looked like a photo finish to me, Larry.
Nope, they tell us it is the Black Stallion that wins. So the Black Stallion will go to the finals. 3 seconds slower than Barefoot Tracks. Take a look at it in slow motion. The Black Stallion and Sampson. There's the Black Stallion, 10.12 seconds. Elapsed time. Body a little bit crooked there as he comes up on the first car. Gets up in the air, all 4 wheels getting air. Comes back around almost on his nose and almost goes over on his top, Margot.
A real serious nosedive there, but he saved it.
That did cost him some time, however. The Black Stallion gets across the line. Here is Sampson. 10.29 seconds. Comes up, hits the cars first, up in the air, but then slows down as the Black Stallion takes over the lead. For just a moment, the Black Stallion loses very valuable time there as he gets sideways, crossed up. Sampson, a beautiful run, gets down on the ground and puts the power to those wheels and heads for the finish line.
Mike's basically fearless attitude has saved him through this entire night of competition.
These drivers have got to be in incredible physical condition. Look at the impact the bodies take. Whoa. The head bouncing around for the battle between the Black Stallion, the Monster Truck, in track number 1 and track number 2, Barefoot Tracks, making his debut tonight.
If Barefoot can just duplicate his previous performance, Michael is in trouble.
Yeah, he's got problems. The Black Stallion off the line first. Now he's got a problem. He stalls, and Barefoot Tracks is on his way to victory here in the Silverdome. What happened to the Black Stallion? Barefoot Tracks, no problem whatsoever. Here comes the stallion now getting up, getting started, but very, very slowly over the cars. They've been flattened quite a bit. Gets sideways, heads for the finish line, but it is Barefoot Tracks taking the victory. And Barefoot Tracks does a victory spin around to show the crowd that he won tonight. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this machine, Margot.
And, Mike, you're in for a show down there. You're right down where the action is.
Well, Ken Brew, this is the place to be if you can be here and you want to get a good view of the action. This is the place you want to be. They're going to go down the track, make a U-turn. They'll come over the outside step. Jim Kramer out of the lead. Kramer with a big jump off the line. Watch this turn. It's very important. Kramer knows how to do it. He's around the first set of cars, and he doesn't let up. Over the cars. Oh, man. Climbing and flying. Yeah, down the other end with a U-turn. Night Stalker just now reached. Kramer's still on the move. Kramer's making it work for him. Kramer's got it in a bag. If something doesn't go wrong, he backs out of it. He's going to save it for the next round. Bigfoot goes on in the first round of competition.
And there's Jim Kramer behind the wheel.
Could be an upset in the making. Gary Bauer wants a win, and he wants it real bad. Short wheelbase truck. Let's see what happens. Jim Kramer knows what's happening. Kramer covers in 3 lengths down the front chute. But watch the turn. Kramer shoots wide on the outside. Long Ranger close on the inside. Bauer won't let up. Kramer is climbing over the first set. Bauer, now Kramer is already into the turn. Bauer is about 5 lengths behind. He's in trouble. Bauer's in trouble. No, he's all right now. He swings, makes the turn. Bigfoot, he's going to back out of it. He's going to hold down. He better not let off too much. Bauer's coming on. Bauer is coming on. Bigfoot.
Bigfoot takes the flag. And again, Mike, we saw Kramer off the line quick. Winning the race at the start, I think, was the key for Kramer in that particular go-round. All right, Mike, now we're going to make some tracks. We got the Stormtrooper against Barefoot Tracks. And right there is Fred Schaefer behind the wheel and with the safety color.
Never count out Fred Schaefer in Barefoot Tracks. Supercharged Chevrolet. And Fred Schaefer runs a very crisp, right on the edge motor. Super horsepower comes out of it.
Now, the Stormtrooper truck, Mike, tell me a little bit about that.
It's Ken Ewan's new truck out of Oklahoma. 1988 Ford Ranger, supercharged engine on the back side of it. And this will only be the second time that this vehicle has been out. So let's watch them race. Ford versus Chevrolet Stormtrooper Barefoot. Fred Schaefer's out. It's close. When they went by me, Ken Ewan had just a little bit of a lead, but I think that's vanished. Fred Schaefer seems to have it now. Schaefer's on the throttle. Watch him. Schaefer over the first set of cars. Oh, he doesn't let up. He's taking a beating. The floor is just vibrating on the floor of the dome. Fred Schaefer is lined up for that last step. Now watch him go. Fred Schaefer holds on. Whoa! Fred Schaefer takes the win.
Mike, those trucks are so difficult to steer. People don't realize it's not a steering wheel in there. It's a series of, what do you call them, pulleys? Sticks? What do they steer those things with?
Well, they've got steering sticks that they're using to control the vehicle with. Fred Schaefer's truck is leaking a little bit of fluid out of it. Looks to be some antifreeze, so he may have built a little bit too much heat in that truck, but he hammered the Stormtrooper.
So we got a little bit of a showdown here. Barefoot is going to go up against Bigfoot. You know, Mike, I really have to wonder what General Patton would say if he could see these today, huh?
I don't think he would recognize them. It is truly showdown time.
Barefoot on the inside, Bigfoot to the outside.
Bob Chandler and Fred Schaefer. And who would have thought, if you'd have told them a couple of years ago they would be racing track vehicles, they wouldn't have believed you.
I guess they know each other, huh?
Oh, very well. Chandler covers him 4 or 5 lengths out of the hole. Chandler's got a hole shot that you wouldn't believe. Fred Schaefer's doing some heavy catching up.
He is.
Fred Schaefer is on the way. He's trying to catch him. Chandler's not letting off this time, though. Woo! Chandler's just flying. Chandler's right now making the turn as Fred comes off the first set of cars. It's going to be Bigfoot happen unless something happens.
It is.
Bigfoot Truck.
Bigfoot has won it. And I got to tell you something, Mike. I think Barefoot was in it up until the point where he made a real wide turn. The final turn he made, he really slid wide. The Beast against Bigfoot Tracks. On the line, the right to race against the Monster Truck winner. The conventional Monster Truck winner.
Torsion bars, shocks on each one of them. Doug Drussel builds the wheel. Look at this. It's going to be a race. Bigfoot has covered him out of the hole. The man was asleep on the line, but he caught up in a hurry. And now they're side by side as they make the turn. Watch it. The Beast may be in the lead. The Beast may have it. Chandler's got the lead. But Chandler's got to make a turn. Chandler's down the chute. It's head-to-head competition. Side by side. Chandler, can he pull it off? Can he pull it off? Oh, man. He does.
Mike, this was a race the Beast could have won, but around that last turn, he seemed to stall.
Something went wrong with that vehicle. I saw him glancing back over his shoulder into the engine compartment, and something went astray.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. We're ready for the start of Monster Truck competition here at the USHRA Association Mud Racing and Monster Truck Spectacular. As you can see, the two different tracks in our side-by-side racing. Track 1, the farthest away from the camera, is Mark Bendler out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, driving the incredible GMC Kodiak. And in the near lane, the boss from Southern California, Todd Blazer, sponsored by AM/PM Stores. Side-by-side start to this first battle in the first round of eliminations. And it looks like Bendler comes down off the cars first, and Kodiak takes the first matchup win over the AM/PM boss. Shelley Herman, Mark Bendler's always a tough one.
Well, you know, he's on the road 38 weeks out of each year, and it's with that kind of dedication, it's no wonder that he's a winner.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark Bendler has a lot of enthusiasm going at this event because just a couple of weeks ago, he won the first ever indoor monster truck race in the state of Wisconsin. This matchup, in the far lane, it'll be Jess Burgee, one of the newer drivers of the circuit with a beautiful new chop top playing for keeps monster truck. And he'll be up against a new entry of the U.S. Hobbit Association Trail. In the near lane is Dan Tassone and the Star Monster, a beautiful piece of equipment. Now, both these guys are newcomers to the U.S. Hobbit Association Trail, but it'll be interesting to see who wins this battle of the rookies. They nail the throttle dead even as they hit the cars, and it looks like the wheel comes off of the playing for keeps Chevrolet. Unbelievable. Burgee manages to keep that thing right side up. It slams into the front of the fire truck, and listen to the crowd at the Silverdome. They cannot believe their eyes.
Fred, I'd like to see another angle to see exactly just what happened there.
I really honestly don't know how the wheel came off. It was so sudden. As soon as he hit the cars, the wheel really never even bent. Look at the crowd. They can't believe it. But Jess Burgee, for the rookie that he is, there you see the man behind the wheel checking out that tire.
He wants to know, too, just what happened.
That's a 1,500-pound tire and wheel assembly. All right, here's the slow-motion replay. Let's see what happens. He hits the cars. Everything's fine. The wheel caves in. And as you can see, the axle is still connected to the wheel. That was apparently the actual flange itself that everything's bolted to, coming right out of the front differential housing. The thing noses down, hits the concrete. Burgee of the cockpit at that point doesn't have any idea what has happened. What a driving job for that man.
He just knows he's going down further than he ever did before.
Well, nobody was paying attention to this beautiful leap by the Star Monster, landing on the fourth car in this obstacle course and then taking a bounce that kind of threw him around. But Jess Burgee, annihilating the equipment in the other lane, hands the win to the Star Monster. There you see the ground crew having to use one of those big front-end loaders just to get it off the floor of the Silverdome. You know, Shelley, that's 5-ton military axle equipment underneath that thing, and he manages to destroy it. That's power.
I think the operative term was 5 tons.
Well, the nightmare is Steve Hess over in the far lane, and he'll be up against one of the greatest showmen in monster truck racing, Dave Marquardt's Immaculate Excalibur GM pickup, and indeed, the beautiful machine in the near lane definitely has a horsepower advantage as well. In fact, it shows up immediately when the flag drops sideways on an incredible launch. And what a ride for Marquardt as he takes the win here in the first round. And Shelley, that's what, look at him, waving to the crowd, that's what Marquardt is known for, is that kind of showmanship and driving skill.
Both vehicles got incredible height, which is something that we don't often see.
I'll tell you, they will bounce around. What a ride for Dave Marquardt. He advances to the next round, and that will bring up an interesting pairing. In the far lane, it'll be Steve Helm with the Crusher, the Copenhagen Skoll-sponsored early model Chevrolet, taking on one of the true underdogs, Jake Heinke's home-built El Camino from Pennsylvania. The Aces High El Camino using, of all things, a supercharged small-block Chevy engine. Jake is always a showman, but very seldom do you see him actually enter an all-out horsepower and driving skill competition, mainly because that El Camino on the left side of your screen weighs about 17,000 pounds and is way down in horsepower compared to some of the other killers. The green flag comes down. They move up for the first hit, and Heinke actually has a car length advantage, lands it very nicely, and gets across the finish line ahead of Hess. In the Copenhagen Skoll machine, and Heinke gets an upset win there, Shelley.
You know, it's quite a bit different strategy from the first guys that came out in the block to these guys. Those cars are crushed now, so they really have to...
We're into the semifinals of Monster Truck action. To kick it off, it'll be the Starmaster Chevrolet of the one and only Dan Tassone. The New Yorker taking on the incredible Kodiak of Mark Bendler out of Wisconsin. We pointed out earlier, Shelley, that Kodiak and Bendler are ready to win this thing. They're on a roll.
And unlike what we just saw, the side-by-side competition, this one is for keeps. We will eliminate one car. It'll then go on to the finals.
That's right. The winner of this one gets a final round berth. Waiting patiently on the starting line for the flagman there. A good side-by-side start. Bendler pulls out about a half-truck lead by the hit. Sideways again as Bendler is all over the track, but takes a clean win on that one. Shelley, Bendler has been driving his way through these rounds. Unbelievable.
He got to do that. He just keeps his foot down, hammers it through, and even got his car a little muddy.
Yeah, when you get into that mud, those things are impossible to handle, and those wet tires will slide all over this concrete floor, but Bendler handled it beautifully. Now it'll be another interesting matchup. In the right-hand lane, Jake Heinke's small-block Chevy-powered home-built Pennsylvania El Camino called Aces Eye takes on the Airmaster Dave Marquardt and Excalibur. Huge lead for Excalibur. Tremendous jump. Great bounce. A lot of pieces coming out from underneath those, Shelley, and that may spell problems for the winner.
I don't think he can spare those spare parts that are laying there on the track.
I don't know what happened. We may have to look at the slow motion to find out what the problem was. Jake Heinke gave it a valiant effort. Here, let's see what happens with Marquardt after another incredible flight in this Chevrolet truck. You see him make the perfect hit. Unbelievable air. You can actually see the drivetrain parts flexing as this thing goes airborne. Now he lands. Tremendous compression. Look at him in the cockpit just sailing with this thing. 16,000 pounds back down on the concrete. Aces Eye, in the meantime, will advance to the final round. We have just received word that apparently Marquardt's machine is not campaignable for the next round of competition, and with a sideways in the air bounce, Jake Heinke, the ultimate underdog, goes into the final round against Mark Bendler's Kodiak. Now we're ready to determine the Monster Truck Championship, and this is maybe a lopsided battle here, Shelley, as the Kodiak of Mark Bendler has been literally driving past his opponents. Jake Heinke in the Pennsylvania-based Aces High small-block Chevy-powered monster machine, the El Camino, got here by the luck of his opponent's breakage when Dave Marquardt's incredible Excalibur broke after winning the semi. This is going to be interesting.
Well, Jake has a lot of experience. I wouldn't be surprised if he could pull it out.
It would be a major upset, and it would certainly stun Mark Bendler. They're ready for the flag. The starter checking each driver. The flag goes up. Here we are, the Monster Truck final. Bendler, the first one hit the cars. Heinke starts to make up the distance, and a tremendously close battle. Man, Jake Heinke really gave a great representation of small block Chevy power.
88 Jeep with a blown Chevrolet on this side. 88 Chevrolet with a blown Chevrolet on the far side. This is Jeff Boehner out of Yakima, Washington. And Dan Patrick out of Kingston, Ohio on the far side. It's a tough track. It's a short blast over some cars. Look out. We're on the way. Landing's going to be tough. Dan Patrick wheeling down the track. Now the tight turn. Jeff has got an advantage with the little Jeep, but Patrick's on the throttle. Who will it be? Patrick in trouble as he goes sideways. Look out. Jeff Boehner's in trouble as he goes. Oh, he drove it out of it. Look at that. There is driving technique. All he has to do is take his time and cross the line, and he's a winner. That's the winner of first round. Wow, Marty. It was unbelievable.
Great performance by Jeff Boehner and Dan Patrick. Looks like something may have let go underneath in the motor. A lot of smoke coming out of there.
Patrick's had problems with the power steering belt, keeping the power steering going on this thing, and that may be what happened on Sampson. But there's a young man, pulled an upset here last year That's not your average size Jeep, as you can tell. It's been lengthened, it's been widened, but it is beautiful.
Lining up alongside of Debbie Roden's Hot Stuff will be Barefoot with Fred Schaefer behind the wheel, and he's got thumbs up, ready to go with that 540 cubic inch engine.
Well, Debbie's a great driver. Fred Schaefer has to be at an advantage with this all-race truck. Watch Fred Schaefer. This is tough. Look at Debbie. She's got the lead. She's got a big lead over Barefoot right now. Could this be? She is in a truck that has done it here before. Fred Schaefer has got to really get after it. Debbie lost a lot of time on the turn. Here's Schaefer. Hard jump. Schaefer over the cars, but it's not over. Debbie's still on the throttle. Schaefer's got to make a turn. It's going to be right down to the finish line. Who's it going to be? It's Fred Schaefer. The all-fiberglass race truck of Fred Schaefer from Pontoon Beach, Illinois, has just advanced.
And I think where he won it was down in the turn area. Well, up comes the one that brings the crowd to their feet every time that they bring this truck to the line. Bigfoot, Jim Kramer behind the wheel. He'll be in the near lane against Evil Force, Ray Prokowski.
Ray out of St. Louis, Jim out of St. Louis, both of them blown forward. You've got to put a little bit of advantage over to the Bigfoot side, if nothing else, just because of the time sequence that they've spent in the business. Jim said earlier, this is a tough track. This first two-car jump is really hard on the equipment, and it's hard on the machinery. Here we go. Evil Force, Bigfoot. Look at that. He does it right. He's very slow over that first set of cars. Then he makes the time. A beautiful turn. Lifts up the right front tire. Prokowski over on the other side. He's got a little problems. Kramer, nail the throttle. Get over him. Kramer does just that. Handles it very well. Prokowski. Kramer in a little bit of a problem. He's in trouble down at the end. Prokowski's trying to come back. He may do it. Oh, Bigfoot pulls off a win, and it was really, really close, Marty.
Great race. Great race at the end. You were right. Bigfoot got deep into the corner, and it gave the Prokowski Evil Force time to catch up a little bit, and it was a close finish. Barefoot with Fred Schaefer. And High Voltage with Jeff Bainter, and the winner advances to face Bigfoot. Different tires on these two vehicles, Mike.
Fred's running an experimental tire, about 400 pounds a piece lighter. This truck is ultra light, about 9,000, 9,500 pounds. Most of the rest of them, 14,000. Fred Schaefer would have to be a favorite on this set of race coming up right now. Although, never, ever count out High Voltage Jeep. Watch Fred, easy with it. And Jeff Bainter jumps. 5 cars that aren't there. It's close. It's just neck and neck. They are absolutely side by side. Who will it be? Jeff Bainter is over the card. He is in a little bit of a lead. Bainter's in the lead. Schaefer's in trouble. Schaefer's all over. He's back on the throttle. Bainter is going to do it. He's going to do it for the second year in a row. This man has pulled another upset. He's pulled an upset. High Voltage Jeep has just pulled the upset of the year. This young man came to win. He came all the way from the state of Washington. He said, Mike, I've got some very important people here watching tonight. I need to go for it. You can't go much further, Monty.
He won it in the turn because of that short turning radius. And watch here in the replay, up over the vehicles. You're right. Bainter cleared 5 of them.
Look at this. Look how far he lands, and then it's just up on the wheels. That's when he nails the throttle. Fred covers him a car.
But watch how deep Fred goes in the corner. Meanwhile, Bainter's already making the turn, and this is where he took the lead. Look at this.
Real close. Now, Jeff gets the lead from this point on. He's on the cars immediately. Look, beautiful job. But Fred is in trouble when he lands. Watch him land on it. He's on the throttle. Now he comes off to the side, comes back around, and it looks like that Fred just couldn't pull one out at the very end of it, even though he tried to.
So it'll be Bigfoot with Jim Kramer against Hot Stuff with Debbie Roden as she gets a second chance to advance.
Debbie has the fastest losing time, and she comes back and runs the winner. She ran the course faster than Evil Force, so that gave her, she actually came up through what would be a loser's bracket to go for a win again, and she could. she's good. You know, she's real good.
But she's got to start from the other lane. So another difference there. She'll be making a left circuit instead of to the right. And Bigfoot immediately takes a big, big lead.
Jim Kramer in a big lead. Debbie had a little problems coming over. Kramer's leaking something out of that truck. Uh-oh! My heavens, and he is really hammering it hard. Debbie has lost her helmet on the other side. Her helmet's gone. Kramer comes back to a win. This thing is unbelievable. There was just action everywhere in that last race. There's Debbie, and let us hope that she's all right. You know, take a tremendous beating in those things. It's Kramer's race, basically. Debbie gets too high and has problems landing it, but Kramer easing over him. Now look how high Debbie is. She's in trouble, lands crooked, off to the side of the track, but watch Jim Kramer. When he makes this turn, you're going to see that he's leaking something out of the truck. Whether it's water, transmission fluid, I don't know, but there'll be a streak come up behind him. You see it coming out right there between the front tires. Now watch this left front tire. Watch that. That's very important. See how high the truck is. The tires turn to the left, and there's where he's in trouble. Drive it out. Look at it go right up into the body. But Jim Kramer, being the pro that he is, nails the throttle, and that's what you've got to do in this case, Marty. When that truck's in trouble, you got to nail the throttle. There's Debbie. You see her blonde hair flying in the wind, and you know, you got to say, Debbie, you're going to make it because you don't give up, and that's exactly what she did. She didn't give up. She said, I'm here and I can do it. Watch, and boy, I tell you what, you got to be proud of her. Very proud of her.
As we've got Bigfoot with Jim Kramer in the near lane, and then it'll be Jeff Bainter in the Jeep over in the far lane, and both have a lot at stake here in Pontiac.
Listen, they've got, adrenaline's got to be pumping. Jeff is looking back saying, hey, I did this once before last year. And Kramer's saying, hey, this guy beat me last year. This is definitely a monster truck shootout. All the talking's over with. It's race time.
We're underway as they head for the first pair of cars.
They're both over them easy. They're both over them easy. Bigfoot says not tonight. Now, here's the important part. Is he going to make the turn? Baynard is eating him up on a turn, but now Kramer is up on it and running over. It's drifting to the left. It's going to be tough. Kramer is going to handle this one. We're not going to let this one slip away. Jeff coming on right at the end. Right at the end. It's close. It's close. I'm going to have to say it's Bigfoot. It was close. Does that little Jeep get it and get it in a hurry? That's unbelievable racing.
Tremendous race from both competitors. Every corner, the Jeep made up ground where he lost it in the straightaway and almost pulled it off as Bigfoot wins in the Monster Trucks. With Monster Tank eliminations, it'll be Stormtrooper and Ricky Rodman against Track Attack, Ernie Brooken.
Look at Ernie Brooken. My, I've never seen a tank get that high. The Stormtrooper on the far side. Rick done a good job, Ernie, with the Tank Attack. Look out, he just sings over them. Can you believe that, Marty? Look at...
And you talk about turning radius. Look at the way Track Attack... Oh,
Brooken just spun it. Brooken just made a 180 and
stalled it.
He stalled it out. The Stormtrooper's in trouble on the far side, but he's going to... Ernie Brooken may try to back across. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Brooken needs to get on the throttle in a hurry. Who's it going to be? It's at the finish line. We're going to have to wait for somebody to fill us in on that one.
I think Track Attack got it right at the finish line.
If he did, it was by mere inches.
He was so fast down in that corner, he did a complete 360 and stalled the vehicle and almost lost the race.
If it can happen tonight, it most definitely is happening here.
Look at the replay, and you said you've never seen this in your entire career.
Never seen a tank get that high.
I mean, totally off the ground. And watch the turning radius here in the corner. As Brooken literally, he locks up the right side.
Spins her, just keeps and nails the throttle, and beautiful work right down the line. He goes as hard as he can go. And Ernie flying this thing over the cars. Never lets up. That's South Dakota's largest snowmobile.
And there's how far back Stormtrooper is. With Ricky Rodman, he is just clearing the cars at that point and having a bundle full of problems. But in the meantime, It was Brookins spinning around.
That's where he spun.
Yeah, you see the tail end of it. And he now stalls the vehicle, gets it restarted. I thought he was going to back it across.
Well, I thought he would, too. I thought that would be a neat idea. Back it across and win. But no, look at Ernie. Okay, but here, Stormtrooper coming into the picture. Now Ernie's pointed towards the line. Stormtrooper, Ricky's headed that way. Take him and run. Who's it going to be right at the final? Yeah, I believe you're right. It's
Track Attack.
Track Attack.
Well, meanwhile, the whistle means it's the Orange Blossom Special with Alan Gaines. And it's going to go up against Fast Tracks with Dan Dubes behind the wheel. And the canopy comes down on Dubes.
We've had a driver change and just realized it. If we can relay that to you, Dan Dubes standing trackside. Bob Chandler, the old master, the gentleman that started driving this thing, has taken over the controls tonight. Watch out for this one. Uh-oh, that train is on a track to win. It's side by side.
Into the turn. Looks like Chandler gets the best of it.
He does, but Alan Gaines spins one. Chandler's flying over the cars, and Chandler, if he doesn't spin, and it's slick down there, nail the throttle. Whoa. He doesn't. He's in trouble. Gaines is in trouble. Now, who's it going to be? Who will be straightened out the quickest? Who can it be? Who can it be? Gaines says, I'm going to go to the house. I don't think I can handle this. Chandler goes across for a win.
I don't think Gaines knew that he could still have a chance to win.
I don't either. I don't think he saw the spin. Here we go. Chandler, he had the idea. I want to nail that throttle, but it came around on him too fast. Now, Gaines right there is set to win this.
All he had to do was make a clean turn, and he spins it out too.
And it wouldn't happen.
Bigfoot will be in the far lane. Track Attack will be in the near lane. Now, Track Attack will run the same lane for the second time, whereas Chandler's going to have to go the other route.
You can bet Ernie wants. They're both going to be very, very. They're going to be thinking a lot about spinning out. Well, here we go. Chandler in the lead. Chandler's got it, but now Track Attack coming back. Uh-oh, Ernie had problems. And we'll see it on the replay, I think. But he's going to try to make a run at it. He is making a run at it. Now, it's Bigfoot, a lot of air. Track Attack making a charge right at the end. Chandler slowing down. He knows what's coming. He knows how he's going to have to do it. And Chandler takes a win. Chandler takes a win, but we saw something, Marty, on one of the drive wheels on the bottom of the Track Attack when he made his jump. Looked like it fell down and rotated back and kind of bound everything up underneath there. When he landed, he had a problem with it. All right, watch the Track Attack on this side. They're off, and it's very close. Chandler covers him out of the hole, by the way, and covers him well. Chandler about a tank lead. But look at this tire. See it come back, the track tire, and it looks like there it falls over. You can see it. The second one from the back has busted up in there, and now it gets back into position and goes on, and Ernie just can't overcome Bob's lead at that time.
Yeah, from that point on, it was Fast Tracks all the way with Bigfoot and Bob Chandler going on to victory. The shell comes down on Fast Tracks. Bob Chandler against Jim Kramer and Bigfoot on the near side. The employee versus the boss. We're going to find out if Jim Kramer can beat the boss.
One thing about it, Marty, you can bet on a blue Ford and be safe.
Yeah, that's for sure. It has been a big night for the fans of Bigfoot. They win no matter which one they're rooting for.
Oh, this is going to be good. You know, and Marty, you're going to see them run them just as hard as they'll go. I mean, if they blow them up, that's fine. Bob says, I got people that'll take them.
Run away.
Kramer in the lead. Bob coming back. Bob. Oh, now, look at this. Kramer, can you do it? Can you do it?
Chandler's got the advantage in turning radius.
Uh-oh, the jump time. Uh-oh. Now, my heavens, we've got them everywhere. It's showdown time. They're just absolutely side by side. Bigfoot. I believe it is. It's a rubber-tired Bigfoot.
Fast Tracks will finish second.
A very close second.
The employee beats the boss.
Keeps his job.
And the crowd is ecstatic.
And they make a parade lap, and one that they very well deserve. There's Jimmy. stepping out and waving to the crowd. Bob's got the top up on the track. Proud moment for both of them. Very good, close racing.
With the first round.
Well, Bigfoot is one of the most sophisticated monster trucks out here this afternoon. Christmas tree start. Here we go. Let's watch him. Bigfoot on his way. Lots of air. He's through it. And a great race for Bigfoot.
Not only a sophisticated car, but a very fast one. Let's take a look at the replay.
All right, on the replay, you can see Bigfoot getting off just a little bit to the left, coming down kind of hard on that left front tire, but he's okay and he will advance.
And we will now advance to our second race. It pits Taurus against Kodiak. Taurus in lane 1, Kodiak in lane 2.
Taurus just recently beat Bigfoot at the Houston Astrodome.
Taurus is driven by Jack Willman, who's 26 years old. He's from Madison, Illinois, and he's been driving since he was 14, so none of this is very new to him. Now, Kodiak is driven by Mark Bindler, also 26. He's from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
All right, we're on our way, and look at Taurus go. Beat him on nearly half a track. He wants to get into the final.
We're now ready for our third heat. It will be Excalibur in lane 1 going against Rocket in lane 2.
All right, both drivers are ready to go. They're watching that Christmas tree. Just one yellow and then a green.
Excalibur is driven by Chuck Pocken from Toledo, Ohio. He's 29 years old. And Rocket will be driven by Dale Boucher, 22 years old, from Santa Ynez, California.
All right, they're just about ready to throw the switch on the Christmas tree. Watch them, a good launch. Excalibur maybe with just a few feet, and that might have won him the race. Excalibur advances into the next round.
Jerry, it appears that the start is so important.
Well, it certainly is, because it's the first one to the finish line in monster truck racing that takes the win. Look at the height on both of these cars. Excalibur getting off just a little bit to the left, and look at this. I thought maybe he was going to go right over on his nose.
It appears that the driving expertise comes in when they come down out of the air. Our next heat features Barefoot, driven by Fred Schaefer. He's 43 years old, from Pontoon Beach, Illinois. Been driving for 13 years. Now, he will apparently race alone because Star Monster, driven by Danny Tassone, had some sort of a breakdown.
That's right. He broke apart in the drivetrain right after qualifying, and he was given a period of time in order to fix it, but he was not able to make it to the line. So a bye run, a single run for Fred Schaefer and Barefoot.
That is called an easy ride through the park right there. Taurus and Bigfoot are pulling up to the line, and Taurus, being the underdog here, has something to prove.
That's right, he certainly does, because just a few weeks ago at the Houston Astrodome, Taurus did beat Bigfoot. This is the new breed of monster truck. These are the racers. All tubular chassis, special suspensions, fiberglass bodies. They are fast, 9,000 minimum pounds.
Taurus will be in lane 1, driven by Jack Willman. Bigfoot in lane 2, driven by Andy Brass.
This ought to be a good race. The winner of this one goes into the final. Who's it going to be? Here we go! Oh, and it's Bigfoot! Bigfoot by about a fender.
Now for our next semifinal, it's Excalibur in lane 1, driven by Chuck Pocken. And in lane 2, it's Fred Schaefer driving Barefoot.
Both drivers coming to the starting line, getting ready to go. The winner of this one will face Bigfoot. A good even start. Fred Schaefer gets a great jump. Brings it down, tries to stop it. Oh, I thought he was going to hit the wall. Fred Schaefer, and look at the height that he has. He brings it down. He could have cleared 2 more cars. Fred Schaefer and Barefoot goes into the final.
So it'll be a classic matchup here. Barefoot versus Bigfoot when we come back. Thanks, Brett. And as Jerry mentioned earlier, Tom Martin always consistent. And once again, a winner here. This is it, the classic matchup. Bigfoot versus Barefoot. This this is the event that everyone came here to see.
It's the classic lineup with Ford against Chevrolet. And this is the view from inside of Bigfoot. Here we go. Both drivers bringing up the RPM. They're just about ready to go. Here we go. They're on their way. Look at the height of Barefoot. Bigfoot is the winner. Bigfoot takes the win.
Jerry, you mentioned the height on Barefoot, but it seems like the speed of Bigfoot is what brought Bigfoot to the victory here.
That's correct. That time that he spent in the air of Barefoot cost him the race. Bigfoot went straight and right through across the finish line.
On in side-by-side competition today in the Silverdome. First, though, we've got to set the field, and we'll do that in qualifying as Jackie Willman brings Torres onto the track to set down the first time. Wow, did he bang it at the end of the run. Jackie Willman, you'll go from dirt to concrete, back to dirt, to a hill, to cars, concrete intermixed. It is a tough course, and now we'll see Kurt Fisher try it. Kurt in the Micro Machine, the Green Boys machine out of Jefferson City, Missouri. The Micro Machine makes the turn. Oh, Fisher has problems on the turn, and just as we talked about, this is a very tricky course. This is going to cost the Micro Machine a lot of time. Fisher rolls the hill, and now he'll try and hit it hard, but he won't make up a whole lot of time at the end. Kurt Fisher's Micro Machine. The legendary Bigfoot Ford is next up out of St. Louis, Missouri. Here is Andy Brass, ready to try and beat Torres's time. And certainly in a lot of U.S. hot rod events, Bigfoot and Torres have waged quite a war, quite a rivalry, and Brass would love to best his time right here. So Bigfoot next to go on the clock. Whoa, look at that front wheel come up, but he's okay, a good turn. Now Bigfoot will try to take it out well. A lot of air for Andy Brass at Bigfoot, shuts her down. Well, next up to go against the clock in monster truck action, you're going to get a look at this very unique truck. This is Evil Sport and Ray Pokarski from Florissant, Missouri.
Wrecker kind of made the turn, and here comes the big Ford for home. Man, look at the air underneath Evil Force. That's one of the heaviest trucks in monster truck racing, Ray Porkowski. Let's watch it again on the replay. Here he comes, and he's got that Ford with that wrecker arm on the back of it off the hill. And when he hits the cars, he really gets some air. Look at how high Evil Force is. He's not like some of the lighter trucks. Again, a lot of weight on this truck. First Blood will be next out. This is Rob Fuchs out of Woodstock, Illinois, and another Ford having a super here in U.S. Hot Rod Racing. The critical turn hits that concrete. See, he kind of slides a little bit, but he's still in control. Little problem with the hill cost him some momentum, and so he didn't hit the cars as well as I know he wanted to in time trial. The time for Taurus is 12.87. Here comes Whiskey Business, and this is Ken Deppy. Makes the turn. Deppy and Whiskey Business traditionally run these turning courses very well. But I don't think on this run he did anything to challenge. Well, here's Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher, another of the state-of-the-art trucks with the cantilever suspension and all the extra shocks, all the suspension travel that allows him to settle that truck down, to really take the hard hits. And not only does the truck handle it better, it's much easier on the driver. At least the drivers will tell you that these kind of suspensions and the way they react to the bumps take a much easier toll, much less of a toll on the driver themselves. Boy, Porter's in trouble. He seemed to completely lose power in between the hill and the cars, and that is a run I'm sure he's not happy with at all. Wait, Taurus is one of the newer trucks, one of the state-of-the-art trucks. Here's one of the old guard, the original Mad Dog. The Breen boys out of Jefferson City, Missouri, John Breen and the Mad Dog Chevrolet, one of the first Chevy monster trucks ever. Look at him dance around that turn. Hold on, John. Again, the Mad Dog had a lot of trouble with the turn. Let's see if he can get her straightened out and finish the run. Boy, the Mad Dog Chevrolet, and I'll tell you, this is really a testament to where the new trucks are, in opposed to an older truck like Mad Dog. This truck was built a lot more for straight-line racing than trying to make turns, and indeed, that turn cost Mad Dog severely. It figures to be the slowest time of this qualification round, and that should be an interesting battle for bragging rights at home. First up, though, this is a main event matchup right here. The Taurus GMC and the First Blood Ford. It's First Blood, Rob Fuchs out of Woodstock, Illinois. Taurus is Jackie Willman from Granite City, Illinois, and they are ready to go. The winner moves on. The loser puts it on the trailer. First Blood makes the turn, but Taurus has got the lead. Taurus is actually putting him away. We'll show you the end of the run for First Blood. He gets in the air and completes it successfully, but Taurus is able to grab the victory. Jackie Willman out of Granite City, Illinois, beats Rob Fuchs and the First Blood Ford. Here on the replay, you can see how Taurus comes over the hill. He's got about a 6-truck length lead at that point, and Jackie Willman airs it out, completely goes over the cars and lands on the other side of the dirt pile. Wow, what a run for Taurus, and he is going to be hard to hold tonight in the Silverdome. Micro Machine and Evil Force set to go. Evil Force again is Ray Porkowski out of Florissant, Missouri. As we mentioned earlier, this is one of the heavier trucks. Micro Machine, one of the newer trucks on the circuit. Kurt Fisher out of Missouri. The big advantage of the turn is the Micro Machine, but now Evil Force is making up ground. And Micro Machine in a little trouble, had to get on the binders. Evil Force has the lead coming to the cars. He's got the win, and he also takes out the finish line. Wow! Evil Force goes right through the poles that hold up the finish tape. Nonetheless, the victory will go to Ray Porkowski and Evil Force. Let's watch the end of that run again. And look, he gets a little bit cockeyed, and bang, here he comes for the finish poles. And guess what? They lose. The monster truck comes through. Evil Force gets the victory. Now the Carolina Crusher will come out to take on Bigfoot. Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, and the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet. Now these two trucks, Bigfoot with Andy Brass and Carolina Crusher with Gary Porter, have very, very similar chassis designs, very similar in the shock setup, in their suspension travel. So let's see who's able to get the victory in this matchup of state-of-the-art machines. Bigfoot with a big edge to the turn. And coming for home, it is all Bigfoot. Andy Brass lets it out the back end, and the win goes to the Bigfoot Ford. Taurus and Evil Force are already there, and one more truck will make it. It'll either be the Mad Dog Chevrolet or the Whiskey Business Chevrolet. There's John Breen ready to go to work in Mad Dog with a thumbs up. Head-to-head against Ken Deppy and Whiskey Business against both these trucks out of the Breen Boys stable in Jefferson City, Missouri. Team bragging rights look like they're going to Whiskey Business as he heads for the turn. Ken Deppy's in good shape, rolls the hill, and he ought to have enough left for the ending. Indeed, it's an easy victory for Ken Deppy and the Whiskey Business Chevrolet as Mad Dog just now completes the run with John Breen behind the wheel. You saw the applause of the fans go up as Jackie Willman came onto the track. Very popular young driver, and he certainly has a super fast truck. But not only is the truck fast, this guy is not afraid to flat drive it on the edge. Certainly the young superstar in this sport. Jackie Willman and Taurus going up against Ray Polkowski and Evil Force. And look at Taurus come out of the hole. Beautiful turn. Now Polkowski and Evil Force, but he's got too much ground to make up. Taurus is putting away the Evil Force right there. Jackie Willman with the win. And Taurus will advance to the Monster Smash Final, the GMC, against Bigfoot. Bigfoot, the big Ford out of St. Louis, Andy Brass behind the wheel. Ken Deppy will drive the Whiskey Business Chevrolet out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Almost a wheel stand at the start for Bigfoot. Brass coming up with a lot of momentum. Whiskey Business makes the turn in good shape, though. They're pretty even as they come off the hill. Bigfoot takes the victory as Deppy's in trouble at the end of the run. Ken Deppy was in this thing until he got to the cars, but lost it. Heading up the ramp to the cars, that big blue truck out of St. Louis, Missouri, the Bigfoot Ford and Andy Brass. These two guys have been warring all over the country. Wherever the U.S. Hot Rod Association goes, you can bet Taurus and Bigfoot are going to be near the head of the pack. And when they go side by side, it is truly one of the most exciting matchups in monster truck racing. And here it is for all the marbles. Even going into the turn. They're still even. It's going to be decided on the final set of cars. Oh, my, I can't tell who won it. Bigfoot's in trouble. Into the wall. The Bigfoot Ford has smashed into the wall of the Pontiac Silverdome. But did he do it in victory or in defeat? We still have not determined. Look at this isolated replay on the Bigfoot Ford. Brass got in trouble as the back end flipped way up, and then when it came down, it sent him flying. He almost went end over end, does a great job to save the truck, but bang, into the wall of the Pontiac Silverdome. In the other lane, Jackie Willman in the Taurus GMC came off the hill way too high, and it cost him a little bit of time. Then he tried to hammer it out the other end. He, too, almost got in trouble. Did you see the nose of the truck almost kiss the concrete? Incredible. We're going to get another replay, and this angle should show us who got the victory. Watch for the finish line, and indeed, there it is.
We're in qualifying right now, and we'll be seeing solo runs with Mike Wine's Jersey Outlaw Ford up first against the clock. He'll be the first man to set the pace in this 8-truck qualified field. Sets of cars. Wine completes the first jump. Now has to make a hard left turn, swing it around, and try and keep it straight to hit the second set of machines while completing one full lap as the elapsed time counter ticks away. Wine lands hard, brings it back around, and completes the first lap against the clock. As he crosses the center of the crush car section, the clock stops to fill the field. And here is the crowd favorite and defending champion, Andy Brass out of St. Louis, Missouri, in the state-of-the-art Bigfoot Ford of Bob Chandler. The crowd already knows this is going to be a good one as Brass makes the first turn beautifully. A rather rough landing, but he hits the turn hard. The inside wheel's off the ground, and he turns too hard. But Brass straightens it back out and completes the run. The mark to beat 29.67 seconds. Brass and Bigfoot runs 20.69 seconds. An incredible job
and it's one of the hottest young drivers in the sport today. Greg Holbrook, the 19-year-old out of Tennessee in the Equalizer GMC. A picture-perfect flight, and Holbrook manages to take the turn perfectly. Look at this, staggered steering as he goes over the second set of cars. That's sheer guts for the 19-year-old, but now he runs into engine problems as the motor stalls. And Holbrook barely manages to get it back underway, but that's going to hurt him big. Holbrook sends it into the last turn. Hopefully he won't have to use the stagger on the independent front and rear steering. And he'll complete the course with an elapsed time of 29.68 seconds, 1/100th of a second behind Mike Wine. We're back at the Pontiac Silverdome, continuing with Monster Truck qualifying here at the U.S. Hobbit Association Monster Truck Challenge Series. A brand new monster machine, so new it's not even painted or lettered yet. Out of St. Louis, Missouri, it's Ray Perkowski and the new Invader with his shot in qualifying against the clock. And problems on the very first turn. Perkowski will get right back in the throttle, though, and try and salvage this run. But he's got major problems. It looks like possibly a broken steering linkage in the front. Something is dramatically wrong. Perkowski, I guess, still does have front steering, but he knows that there is some kind of mechanical malfunction that is keeping this thing from running anywhere near its potential. And Perkowski will take it back to the pits immediately. The elapsed time on the run, 1 minute, 12 seconds flat. Here's Rob Fuchsia, the first blood Ford. Rookie of the Year takes the first turn perfectly and now sets his sight with an unsponsored home-built truck on knocking Bigfoot out of the pole. He brings it around beautifully on the last turn and crosses the finish line. The mark to beat, 20.69 seconds. Fuchs runs 20.43 seconds. Out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Jim Thomas and the barely tame Ford. Thomas rather conservative around the first turn as he lines up for the second set of cars. But look at this, a staggered driving style just like the Equalizer, using the independent front and rear steering to straighten the truck out. Even more problems on the second turn as Thomas brings it back around. The elapsed time for Thomas, 27.55 seconds, and that won't help him a bit. Here at the Pontiac Silverdome, we're ready for the first round of Monster Truck Eliminations, a circular course with two vehicles competing on a common finish line. It'll be Jerry Richmond in the Weapon One Chevrolet against Jim Thomas in the barely tame Ford. They both move into their respective first turns and now line up for their respective back straights. And with the finish line marked in the middle of the crush cars, you can see it's a dead even battle as they go into the last turn on opposite sides. Heading for the finish line, Thomas runs into problems inches from the finish line, and Richmond will come from behind to get an upset victory. What a tough break this time around. Doug Spanier and the Master of Disaster Chevrolet will get a bye run, as apparently Ray Perkowski, who we saw run into big problems during qualifying with the new Invader Ford, will be unable to make it to the starting line for this round. Spanier will apparently not take it easy. He's going to drive it all out to get used to this unusual circular course. Overdriving it a bit out of the last turn, but he'll straighten it out and obviously proves that he's ready for this semifinal round. But coming up next, the number 2 qualifier and defending champion Andy Brass in the $100,000 Bigfoot Ford leaves the starting line against 19-year-old Greg Holbrook out of Tennessee. The Equalizer being driven plenty hard to try and get around the Ford. But look at the advantage Brass already has. The kid is in trouble. Brass will literally drive around him for the victory. And Andy knows he's got this one in hand. as there are apparently even more problems for 19-year-old Greg Holbrook. He will just drive it right back into the pit area. But Bigfoot advances. And now it'll be the #1 qualifier, First Blood, and Rob Fuchs taking on Mike Wine's Jersey Outlaw Ford in the final pairing of round 1. A possible upset in the making. It looks like the Outlaw may already have the advantage, but no, Fuchs will now make up where Wine has problems on the second turn. Wine will get it back underway, but the First Blood Ford is right behind him. Fuchs knows he's got this one in his pocket and will easily take care of the Jersey Outlaw to advance to the semifinal round. Wine will complete his run nonetheless. Had a great battle going as he locks up the brakes and heads for the pit entrance. 50,000 race fans here at the Pontiac Silverdome are anxiously awaiting the semifinal round of Monster Truck action. The winners of these two pairs go to the final round. It's Ford and Chevy. Weapon 1 against First Blood, Rob Fuchs and Jerry Richmond. Again, the winner goes to the championship dash. They leave the starting line on the green light, and they are dead even on the first quarter lap. Richmond bouncing all over the place, tries to keep pace with the Ford, but he runs into problems. And Rob Fuchs may have his first final round appearance of the year in his hand. He does. He drives past the broken Chevrolet. Richmond slams the helmet down as Fuchs drives his way into the final. The crowd ecstatic with this unsponsored home-built truck taking the #1 qualifying spot, now advancing past 2 competitors to go to the championship finale. Jerry Richmond obviously dejected. On the line, it's Andy Brass and Bigfoot, the #2 qualifier. Moving up against the master of disaster of Doug Spanier. Another Ford and Chevy battle. So far, the Master of Disaster has been nowhere near Bigfoot's performance, but we've already seen that this circular course can make things equal in any respect, just in the treachery of its slippery turns. Waiting for the green light. Bigfoot gets the hole shot, a huge hole shot, in fact. Finally, Spanier starts leaning on the Master of Disaster machine, but I think it's too late. Look at the advantage Brass has, and Spanier has already spun out at the end of his first turn. Andy Brass now literally chasing the Chevrolet around the track, and there is no way that Spanier's going to be able to pull a win out of this one. All Brass has to do is make this turn and bring it across the finish line to come home a winner. A tough break for Spanier. Fuchs is obviously ready to take on the challenge of his life. The best-known monster truck in the sport's history lines up on the left. Fuchs looking eagerly towards the green light as Andy Brass, the defending champion, has got to be a little bit more confident in this situation than his opponent. Both machines move into stage. The crowd obviously cheering for their favorites. Fuchs is ready. 50,000 race fans hold their breath as the final is at hand. Fuchs gets the hole shot. That's what he needed, and Andy Brass is already at a disadvantage. They both take the first turn perfectly, and it's almost dead even at the midway point. Now going into the final turn. It's Andy Brass making up a tremendous amount of distance in the second half, and the Bigfoot Ford comes from behind.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Scott Douglas. As you look at Wyoming, Michigan's Jesse Berge line up, you are going to see him try to handle certainly a course that has a little bit of everything. First of all, speed bumps. That's tough enough, but watch as he comes into the turn. This is one of the tightest turns ever created in monster truck racing. And indeed, Berge, with a truck that doesn't have the rear steer capabilities, actually has to make a three-point turn. Go back, back up, go forward again, and then finally make the turn. That cost him a lot of time. As he comes down and hits the cars, Jesse Berge completes a run that is not going to be good enough for fast time for sure at 28.26. The keys are going to be sustaining speed on the speed bumps, 1, and 2, making the turn without having to stop and back up. Here is David Morris, a former world champion in the equalizer. Good speed on the bumps. Let's watch him in the turn. Slows down and negotiates the turn successfully. This should be a good run. David Morris in the equalizer. And that's going to be a time to beat, 17.75 for David Morris, the equalizer. Now Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Crunch out of Houston, Texas. Scott gets over the speed bumps in pretty good shape. Normally does well on turning courses, but he missed the turn here. This will cost King Crunch a whole bunch of time. Scott Stevens, who generally does well on turning courses, is not qualifying well on this one. But he should have a time sufficient enough to get him in the field. And I'm sure he'll learn from that first run. Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Crunch at 28.29. Next up, it's Rob Fuchs and the First Blood Ford. Into the turn. Let's see how Fuchs handles it. He, too, has apparently missed the turn. Fuchs will have to back up and try it again. Precious time wasted in the turn if you don't make it. The trucks with the rear steer will be wise to slow way down into the turn. They'll save the time in the long run. 26.26 for Rob Fuchs and the First Blood Ford. Here's John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor out of Lackawanna, New York. All right, Tremor taking his time, setting up the turn. Looks like a wise decision. He's got plenty of room. The Buffalo Tremor may have one of our better times. John Kwasniewski, now the fast qualifier at 17.69. Out of Minnesota, Albany, Minnesota to be exact. This is Doug Spanier and the Barely Tame Ford. He made the turn in good shape. Here comes Barely Tame. This could be another outstanding qualifying run. He's lost momentum. Oh, no. He made the turn in beautiful shape, and then Barely Tame died on the cars. He'll try to get it refired because the clock is still ticking. If he can finish the run without assistance, he'll have an official qualifying run. And indeed, Barely Tame is in the books, although it's our slowest time so far at 33.46. Out of Phoenix, Arizona, here's Joey Pittman and Tough Enough. Boy, look at that bucking Bronco action. He's going back and forth, and he's going to have some problems on the turn, indeed. Without that rear steer capability, Pittman unable to really get those back wheels and the back part of the truck turned around. And this is costing him a whole bunch of time trying to negotiate the turn. He is now up the hill, and Pittman will try and finish as quickly as he can to qualify as well as he can because a lot of trucks have missed the turn. 31.72. The steel eyes of the outlaw out of Pennsauken, New Jersey. Nick Rossi in the Ford. Good shape on the speed bumps. Let's watch him in the turn. He slowed way down. Can he make the turn? No. He's going to have to put it in reverse. Back up a little bit. Now here comes Rossi over the hill. For a truck that missed the turn, that doesn't look like it's too bad a run. 25.39, one of the better times among trucks that did not make the turn. Wayne Smozenik and the Tropical Thunder Machine coming at you right now. The Chevy into the turn and looks like he's got a shot. Indeed he does. Tropical Thunder has made the turn in great shape. This could be one of our faster qualifying runs. Tropical Thunder. 19.26. Look at this. It's the incredible snake bite. Colt Cobra out of Colorado. The masked man behind the wheel. Colt Cobra ready to go in snake bite. Looking for the green. And one of the most unique and awesome looking trucks in the sport. Heads for the turn. Can he make that turn? Yes, he has made the turn. Snake bite's in good shape. Colt Cobra to the final set. A super run, and that's our new fast qualifier. 16.03, Colt Cobra and Snakebite now on top. But here comes the reigning world champion, Fred Schaefer's Barefoot Chevrolet. Good job into the turn. Schaefer is coming on with it. He did not hit the cars very hard, but he was so fast before he got there. He's clearly the fast qualifier. 15 seconds flat for Fred Schaefer's Barefoot. Now Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher Chevrolet out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, way up on the back wheel. He's made the turn, but he oversteered. He overcorrected. Now the Crusher coming on. He will complete the run in good shape. Second best so far at 15.62. Dennis Anderson, state-of-the-art Gravedigger. And this guy will not back off. Look at the wild ride from the Gravedigger, but he's still keeping a lot of speed. A super turn. Dennis Anderson is laying down a shot. Up, and away. What a run. 13.72 for the Gravedigger. Out in force, and they love that run. David Valroy, the Invader, up next. Into the turn, slowing way down. Oh, he's got to stop. Costing the Invader time. Valroy now makes the turn and will come on, but obviously won't be near the front of the qualifying field. 21.16 among trucks that missed the turn. That's the best time we've seen. Now, Andy Brass, the original monster truck, Bigfoot. And Andy's got a tough assignment on a tough course. He's got a brand new rear steer mechanism in this truck. And looky right there, it's got him in trouble already. Brass, in almost an experimental stage with the rear steer on this truck, is in all kinds of trouble. Now, finally, Brass gets it up the hill, and Bigfoot, surprisingly, is going to have one of the slowest times so far. 26.26. Now Torres up next, but Andy Brass has got to be talking to himself because I don't think he learned anything in that qualifying run in the first round. He's got to be very leery of the turn. Look at Jackie Willman flying up in Torres, and he's missed the turn. This is not Jackie Willman's kind of course. Jackie is an all-out, holder-to-the-floor kind of driver, as daring as anybody in the business. But when it comes to backing off and having to exercise a lot of control, I don't think Jackie likes doing it. He likes going all out all the time, and it's a tough turn for him. He missed it and comes in at 26.69. The way we'll go into side-by-side first-round competition. Outlaw against Gravedigger. They'll now turn toward each other, as you'll see that hairpin turn may decide it. Gravedigger was the fast qualifier, and he's showing you why. Dennis Anderson. An easy victory for the Gravedigger out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, and the Outlaw dies on the car. He's going to be tough to beat today. Buffalo Trimmer coming out now. Johnny K. John Kwasniewski out of New York against Jesse Berge from Wyoming, Michigan, and playing for keeps. In qualifying, Jesse had a terrible time with the course. Not having the advantage of rear steer could really be a detriment. Let's see going into the turn. Tremor really slows down. Tremor's in good shape. And again, Berge can't make the turn. It'll be an easy win for John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor Chevrolet out of Lackawanna, New York. In the meantime, Jesse Berge just trying to complete the run. Playing for keeps will now get over the hill and finish the course. But Berge goes down to the feet. Tropical Thunder against Tough Enough. Into the turn. Wayne Smozanek in the Tropical Thunder lead is being cut down by Tough Enough, but Joey Pittman has trouble on the turn, and that's going to give the big edge to Tropical Thunder. Here comes Smozanek, and Wayne pulls away the victory. Tropical Thunder will grab the win. Tough Enough is still trying to negotiate the turn. And Joey Pittman out of Phoenix, Arizona will have to put it on the trailer. Tough Enough finishes the run. A beautiful vehicle, but not now. A showdown between the Ford Camp's favorite Bigfoot and the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet. Remember the trouble Andy Brass had with his rear steer in qualifying. Into the turn. The same thing has happened again. He actually oversteered it, and it'll be an easy win for Carolina Crusher, although Gary Porter took nothing for granted and really sailed it out the back door. Bigfoot having rear steer problems. Colt Cobra and Snakebite against Torres and Jackie Willman. This will be a dandy matchup. Snake fight. The Ford heading for the turn. Taurus misses completely. Jackie Willman is flying. Look at the wild run from Taurus. Jackie Willman finishes the course with a wild run, but he was way out of bounds. All Snakebite's got to do is finish the run, and he will be declared the winner. Jackie Willman unable to control his Taurus in the turn. And look at how far off course he was. He came sailing over the hill, tried to finish the run, but he missed the hill and missed the cars. Will get a chance to come back, but what a wild run Jackie Willman gave us. Invader against Barely Tame. Out of the turn, Invader's got about a truck length lead. Will it be enough? David Valroy will record the victory in the Invader as Doug Spaniers Barely Tame again dies coming off the turn. David Morris's Equalizer Chevrolet will now take on the Auto Value King Crunch, another GM product out of Texas. Former world champion Equalizer. Morris has the lead into the turn over King Crunch. Crunch negotiates the turn well. They're even coming off the hill. Equalizer gets the victory. It was close. It was very close. Here you'll see him come to the finish line. Equalizer has a bit of a lead. King Crunch making up ground, but at the finish line, the difference is the length of one wheel. One more first round race. Barefoot, the Chevrolet, the world champ. First Blood, the big bad Ford out of Illinois, and Rob Fuchs. Into the turn. First Blood has died. It'll be an easy win for Fred Schaefer and Barefoot. From Pontoon Beach, Illinois, Freddie Schaefer completes the first round with a victory as First Blood is stuck. What a quarterfinal round we have set up. The Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson's awesome machine out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, against the Buffalo Tremor from New York and John Kwasniewski. They come to the turn virtually even. The Digger is handling that turn so beautifully. Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger has recorded another victory. Now it's time for our next quarterfinal matchup. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher taking on Wayne Spizanek and the Tropical Thunder, two Chevrolets. Look at the bounce Carolina Crusher is getting, but Porter is not letting up a bit. He turns for home. They're dead even. Over the hill, Crusher's got the edge, and Crusher will win it. Wadesboro, North Carolina's Gary Porter smashes the pole at the start of the track just for fun. He finishes in good shape, makes his legal run, and then veered over to take out the starting pole. Crunch. Quarterfinal action with the Equalizer will come up in a minute. I think David Morris brought his GMC into the building a little quick. He jumped the gun. He'll have to wait on our next matchup between the Invader and Snakebite. A matchup of Ford, Colt Cobra out of Colorado in the Snakebite. Missouri's Dave Valroy is even with Snakebite as they make the turn. Coming up the hill, Snakebite's in trouble. He's oversteered. Snakebite had made the turn, but oversteered. Valroy's not having a real smooth run, but it's going to be good enough to advance into the semifinal round. Bad break for Colt Cobra and Snakebite. He'll meet either Barefoot or Equalizer. The reigning world champ Barefoot, the former world champ Equalizer. They will go at it right now. From Tennessee, David Morris turns the Equalizer against Illinois' Barefoot. Fred Schaefer, smooth as silk, over the turn. Barefoot looks good, and he's going to whip the Equalizer. In our second matchup, you'll see the Invader Ford. And right here in Ford country, the Invader is the only Ford left. But first, two longtime rivals, the Gravedigger and Carolina Crusher, a couple of North Carolina trucks. Gravedigger's in trouble for the first time tonight. He has missed the turn, but Carolina Crusher went out of bounds. Crusher went out of bounds. And Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger, who made his first mistake of the night, will get away with it. Watch right here. As Digger misses the turn, Crusher goes completely out of bounds. Digger is able to correct and get the win. Invader is really smoking at the start line. We're told that he's actually losing transmission fluid. He's got a hole in the pan. He may melt down, but he's going for it against Barefoot, the world champion Chevrolet, against the Ford known as the Invader. They are even into the turn. What a gutty performance by the Invader. He's given Barefoot all he wants. They come to the line together. Too close to call. You can see the smoke from the transmission of the Invader. It doesn't slow him a bit. And at the finish line, here they come. Invader by inches. A huge upset. The Ford wins it. One of the greatest fields in the history of monster truck racing has been whittled down to 2. In the finals, the Invader takes on Gravedigger. Dave Valeroy, the Invader, his team has absolutely been busting tails out in the pits trying to get that truck ready. They've had to stick rags in the transmission, but they're holding it together, and Invader challenges Gravedigger in the final. They turn for home. A slight lead to the Gravedigger. Digger will win it. Dennis Anderson's in trouble, and over on his roof, the Gravedigger has won, but flipped in the Silverdome. Dennis Anderson is okay is the first word we're already getting as the Gravedigger wins over the Invader, but lands on his roof to do it.
And I just got a weird bounce coming off the cars, and I got over into one of our little counter poles there, and I didn't want to hit it. I started to steer away from it, but it was just too late. I ended up hitting the pole, tearing that deal down, and I just slid around, and the rim dug into the dirt, or my back tire dug in, and it just flipped me over. My body man, Ronnie Jones, he said that, he says, hey, this body's getting pretty rough. I think we ought to go ahead and replace it. And I told him, I said, man, it's good for another rollover. I was joking when I said that. He'll die when I bring it back to the shop like this.
It's a night they'll never forget in the Silverdome.
Again, over 50,000 fans have gathered to see the Monsters run in the Pontiac Silverdome. The haze you see, the result of a pyrotechnics show that fans were treated to before racing. And here comes Bigfoot, Andy Brass, out of West Alton, Missouri. A newlywed, Andy Brass is no stranger to Monster Truck Challenge. And he's going up against Hammer Time. Dan Johnson out of Howell, Michigan, a hometown boy. Hammer Time, Bigfoot, side by side on a turning course in the Pontiac Silverdome. They're lined up, ready to go, looking for the green light. They get it. Bigfoot lifts the front tires off the ground. Looks as though he may have blown a shock in the rear, but what a great job of driving. Bigfoot and Andy Brass powered to a win. And Hammer Time left in the distance. As he moves on, next matchup between Don Van Loo and Bad Medicine out of Jefferson City, Missouri, the big Dodge. He's going up against Alan Tura and Goliath. Goliath out of Warren, Ohio. These guys have met before, and we're about to see them here in Pontiac. Off the line, it looks as though Bad Medicine may have a lead the important turn. Goliath has a little problem. Don Van Loo pilots Bad Medicine around over the cars. Not a pretty win, but he was legal. Don Van Loo and Bad Medicine with a win. And on the track, 2 monster trucks, a big Ford and a big Chevy. UFO out of Pennsauken, New Jersey, piloted by Bob Fisher. He's going up against the one and only King Crunch, Rob Grossman out of Spring, Texas. So a Ford Chevy shootout right here in the Pontiac Silverdome. They're lined up, set to go. Off the line, side by side. Now comes the turn. Grossman has some problems. UFO, a great job of turning. And Bob Fisher pilots the big yellow Ford to a victory. Bob Fisher. And look here, another Ford Chevy shootout. The yellow truck, the Liquidator. This is Mike Wales out of Pennsauken, New Jersey. That's our second truck in a row out of Pennsauken, New Jersey. They must like Fords there in New Jersey because that is our second one. And the Auto Value Racer, Scott Stevens, our second driver today out of Spring, Texas.
So the Pensacola, New Jersey boys are taking on the Spring, Texas boys. The guys from Jersey won the first one. Let's see if the Texans get some revenge. Off the line, side by side, the Auto Value Racer. Look at this, a perfect turn for him. And Liquidator has troubles in the turn and then can't keep it on the track. He's all over the place. The win goes to the Auto Value Racer as Liquidator limps across the finish line. While they're talking, two more of the big monsters come to the starting line. They are the Snake Bite. Our first look at Snake Bite today. This is piloted by Colt Cobra out of Cobra Creek, Colorado. Mean-looking guy. And going against him, Bennett Clark and the Clydesdale. The Clydesdale out of Ackworth, Georgia. Bennett, a former rodeo rider. So it's Clydesdale and Snakebite here in the Pontiac Silverdome. Side by side, a Ford and a Chevy. Off the start, Snakebite takes a big lead. Look at Clydesdale, that rear steer. Snakebite turns on the power, goes sideways in every which way, but he crossed the finish line first. The win, the Colt Cobra. The big question is, Ken, with this turning track, can they straighten it out after that turn? That seems to be the problem of a lot of the monsters here in Pontiac. Bigfoot, Andy Brass, going up against the Clydesdale and Bennett Clark. A Ford Chevy matchup. They're on the starting line. There they go. Bigfoot hopping a wheelie off the start. Backs off, uses that rear steer, whoops that rear end around, and defeats the Clydesdale handily. Meanwhile, Bennett Clark is all over the track. He takes out a track marker pole. A tough break for Bennett Clark. He just cannot figure out this rear steer. Look at this. The rear tires are all out of shape. I'm not one direction, then the other direction. Bennett's bouncing around. The track marker pole goes down. Meanwhile, more racing action. Bad Medicine, Don Van Loo going up against Bob Fisher and UFO. UFO out of Jersey, Don Van Loo out of Missouri with Bad Medicine. A Dodge Ford matchup in the Pontiac Silverdome. As they wait for the starter to say rock and roar, there they go. Bad Medicine turns on. And look at this, Bob Fisher and UFO with a great turn. Bad Medicine has all sorts of problems on the turn, and he's out of it completely. Bad Medicine left the track. He's disqualified. Bob Fisher and UFO with that great handling. Look at this guy drive this monster truck. The big Ford is up, back in shape for the jump. Over the cars, across the finish line, UFO advances. And Don Van Loo, I tell you, he made this turn, and this is where the problems began. The tires come up. Oh, almost turns it over. He's back across, but he's headed the wrong way. He leaves the track. He says, hey, I'm out of here. Here comes the Auto Value Racer and Scott Stevens with King Crunch and Rob Grossman. Both are teammates. Scott Stevens owns both trucks, so Rob Grossman's trying to beat his boss. Their stage set to go. The Auto Value Racer, the King Crunch, side by side in Pontiac. Off the line, the racer seems to have the edge. On the turn, the Auto Value Racer turning it on. And King Crunch has problems. More USHRA Monster Truck Challenge racing in Pontiac at the Silverdome. This time, it's Hammer Time and Snakebite. The awesome-looking Snakebite going up against Hammer Time. Their stage, and we're ready to go as action returns to Pontiac. Hammer Time bobbling just a little bit. Off the line, the Snakebite backs down for the turn. Hammer Time has problems in that turn. He has to shut down almost entirely. And Snakebite gets an easy win. Hammer Time just can't keep up. There goes one of those lane markers again. Well, the fans are ready. 50,000 plus fans in the Pontiac Silverdome to see the big monsters roar. Bigfoot, Andy Brass aboard, going up against Bob Fisher and UFO. Thumbs up from Bob Fisher. Bigfoot is ready. Off the line they go. Bigfoot popping that characteristic wheelie. He backs it down, goes into the turn. Bob Fisher goes wide. And Andy Brass gets the win. Andy Brass and Bigfoot in the finals here in Pontiac. Our next matchup between Snakebite and the Auto Value King Crunch. Now, Rob Grossman and King Crunch, back as the fastest loser, finds himself in the semifinals. Snakebite has defeated all comers. Off the line, Snakebite gets the hole shot. He backs down for the turn, handles that turn. Grossman goes wide again. And Snakebite with a win. Snakebite with a win as the Auto Value King Crunch comes over the finish line. Can the crowd on their feet in the Pontiac Silverdome for an all-Ford final between Bigfoot, Andy Brass, out of West Alton, Missouri, going up against Snakebite, Colt Cobra. Colt coming from Cobra Creek, Colorado, with the Snakebite Monster. They're on the line. The crowd divided over who they like. Side by side, they go into that turn. Andy Brass seems to turn on power in the air. And Bigfoot wins. Yes, Bigfoot defeats Snakebite in the Pontiac Silverdome.
He's driven by Colt Cobra with a time of 5.15 seconds. That means he gets lane choice all night after a first-round bye. And if you haven't seen this truck, you're in for a real treat. It's one of the newest and coolest-looking monsters on the U.S. Hot Rod Association circuit.
Want to show you what happened to the Digger in qualifying. Leslie Anderson, the brother of truck owner Dennis Anderson, behind the wheel. And there, that metal piece flying out the back, one of the drive shaft loops. Another one falls off at the end of the run. The grave digger's done for the night. He'll not be back for the first round of competition. They may not come any cockier than that guy right there, Colt Cobra. He gets a bye run as our fast qualifier in Snakebite. What, you really got to like a guy who comes out and wants to hammer it anyway. With a bye run, all he had to do was roll over the cars. Well, now we get a look at the Beast and the Master of Disaster. They'll go side by side, our first elimination matchup of the day. From Dayton, Ohio, it's Bob Holman bringing out the Beast, lining up to go up against a Minnesota-based Chevrolet. This is Jim Thomas behind the wheel of the Master of Disaster out of Albany, Minnesota. We're going to find out how crazy he is right here because he's got to let it all hang out as he goes up against the Beast. The win to the Master of Disaster and Jim Thomas as the Beast. For our next first round matchup, we'll send the Psycho trackward against the Pony Express. Gary Spann, the Psycho driver, talks about Ross Superman. Oh, that's a lot of fun, but here with the U.S. Hot Rod Association today, it's pure out racing, and he's got to beat this guy, Anthony Portier, and the Pony Express. The Mustang lines up at the line. Portier out of Dayton, Ohio, ready to go up against Garrett Graham's Psycho. At the finish line, although Anthony Portier, just for good measure, pounds out. His opponent will be one of these two trucks in the next round. Barely Tame, the truck on the left, and the Keystone Crusher on your right. The Keystone State produces Dave Harris. He's out of York, Pennsylvania in the Crusher. The Chevrolet was that slogan a lot of Chevys like to use. Have you driven over a Ford lately? Emblazoned on the front of the truck. There's a Barely Tame Ford. This is Doug Spanier out of Albany, Minnesota. That's Doug Spanier. He's ready to go and Barely Tame on the left of your screen against the Keystone Crusher. And he wins it right there. Doug Spanier and Barely Tame taking the victory over Dave Harris and the Keystone Crusher. snake bite ready to go. Let's watch both the trucks in between the two sets of cars because you heard both drivers say they're going to handle it differently. Let's see. It looks like Snakebite had the better way of handling that distance between the sets of cars. He gets a victory. Oh, Master of Disaster almost ran into it. Jim Thomas got that Chevrolet shut down just in time. Ready to go, you can see. Barely changed. Thumbs up from Doug Spanier. He's looking for a green light, and it's showtime. Wild run for the Pony Express, and that's going to cost him. When we see it on the replay, you'll be able to see where Pony Express lost this race, and that was coming off that first set of cars. He got really out of control and was unable to hammer the throttle heading up to the cars for the second time. We're isolated on the Pony Express Mustang, and there was his problem, a wheelie in between the cars, and you can't afford to have that happen. He had virtually no momentum to hit the second set of cars with. In the meantime, in the other lane, Barely Tame is a truck with a lot of horsepower, but this truck does have a great suspension setup, and Colt Cobra knows how to drive it. From Cobra Creek, Colorado, the Snakebite Ford looking to get a win in the Silverdome. He'll have to beat Barely Tame to get the job done. Barely Tame's got the lead, but he couldn't finish the job. He went out of control midway through the second set of cars, and your Silverdome superstar today is Snakebite and Colt Cobra. He takes the victory. Let's watch him on the isolated replay. A good, smooth run, even though out of the hole, Barely Tame got the advantage. Colt Cobra did not panic. He just ran his nice, smooth race, and it's enough to get him the victory as Barely Tame careened out of control and into his lane before getting her stopped down on the second half of the course. Keep your eyes on the big blue truck at the bottom of the screen. That's Barely Tame. He had the lead here, but his problems come before he gets to the second set of cars, shooting over into Snakebite's lane. Luckily for Colt Cobra, the Snakebite truck is already gone and headed for victory lane.
Andy Brass driving Bigfoot. Now, he was our fastest qualifier. He gets a bye run. He'll also show us this course. It's a U-turn, as Jim said. You go up, you must make a hairpin turn, then straighten out and head for the cars. Whoa! That's how Bigfoot does it, the big Ford. It takes a combination of things to win here. First of all, the truck has to be able to accelerate. Secondly, the driver be able to maneuver properly. Dennis Anderson took Gravedigger to 4th in qualifying. Fred Schaefer took Barefoot to 9th. This is our Monster Wars Invitational Challenge. Tread to tread, Barefoot has taken out Gravedigger once on the season. Dennis Anderson of the Gravedigger tells us what it takes to win.
It's going to be a real fast straightaway. Brakes will be hot coming into the turn. And we get squared away in the turn and just nail it and jump the cars, you know. And I just got to keep an eye on old Fred over there. I'm going to run my race. He's going to run his, but the old Dodge runs good. I got to give him credit. But this old 1950 Chevy will beat his door down.
If confidence has anything to do with it, he could do it. Side by side, they go around and up and over and into the turn. And oh, the Gravedigger rolls. Barefoot has some problems on the turn, but Gravedigger rolls. Barefoot goes on to win it. Gravedigger rolls. Dennis Anderson is on his roof. The time for Barefoot, 18.72. Gravedigger looked great off the line. He had the acceleration down, but either the brakes didn't work or the short wheelbase caused him a problem, and when he went to make the turn, he went over. The tires look good. I think he just didn't decelerate enough. Maybe he couldn't find the brake pedal. Whatever it is, Dennis Anderson's on his roof in the Gravedigger. Barefoot is in the winner's circle. The question on everybody's mind, is Dennis okay? He's out of the truck waving to the crowd. Dennis Anderson is in fact okay, and he's worried about his truck as he surveys the damage to Gravedigger. And now they've hooked the front end loader up, trying to right Gravedigger on all 4 tires. One thing's for sure, Digger is virtually out of this race. The strategy here, right off the line, speed up, go as fast as you can, then shut it down, use the rear steer for the turn, straighten up and head for home. Going into that turn, Invader and Carolina Crusher both saw what happened to Gravedigger. They don't want it to happen to them. And Carolina Crusher does a flawless job of driving. Invader has problems with that turn. It cost him the win, full 2 seconds behind Carolina Crusher. This one between Kodiak and Taurus. Kodiak is driven by Mark Bendler. Jack Willman Sr. pilots Taurus. Yes, I did say Jack Willman Sr. Now, the question on everybody's lips is, why is truck developer and owner Jack Willman Sr. driving the truck?
All the new trucks that I build, I start out testing them out, and that this particular one I didn't. You know, I let Jackie have at it, and I just thought, instead of letting, you know, I have Jackie as a driver and Eldon as a driver. Jackie's my son, Eldon's my nephew. They're both young, and they don't think the old man can drive, and there ain't no sense letting them have all the fun.
Well, let's all have some fun. You guys watch this one. Taurus and Kodiak on the line. Jack Willman just smokes it down there. He shuts down. Kodiak has a little problem going around that turn. Jack Willman, look at this guy. The old man can do it. There'll be some celebrating tonight. The Silverdome Pontiac. Some 50-plus thousand people watching the big monster stage. Jerry Richmond driving Maximum Overkill. He qualified second with a time of 5 seconds. Rob Fuchs in First Blood qualified seventh, 5.39 seconds for his qualifying run. This is our Monster Wars Invitational Challenge, bringing together the best, biggest, baddest trucks in the world. And Maximum Overkill certainly ranks up there along with First Blood. Jerry Richmond drives Overkill. He signals he's ready, waits for the green light. It is showtime. Off the line, they are even. And now the very, very important turn. Maximum Overkill seems to be able to maneuver a little better than First Blood. Maximum Overkill gets the win. His time, 10.52 seconds. Our fifth and final race of round number 1. Pits Rambo and Equalizer. This could be a barn burner. David Morris handles the driving duties in Equalizer. Bill Weaver Jr. up in Rambo. Equalizer and David Morris have been doing a super job on the season. We have not yet had an opportunity to see Rambo on Monster Wars. But let me tell you something. This guy lives up to the name Rambo. He clears out the cylinders. We are set for a matchup between Rambo and Equalizer. They wait for the green light off the line. Equalizer with a little bit of a hole shot. They go into the turn. David Morris is an expert on this. Rambo has a bit of a problem. He has to slow down. Equalizer makes short work of one of the top trucks in the country. Equalizer smokes Rambo. We may rewrite the history books here, Luann. Bigfoot and Taurus, the matchup of the night, starts off round number 2. And on the sidelines, truck owner, the man who started the whole thing, Bob Chandler. Earlier, he contrasted yesterday's monster trucks and today's.
When I was doing it years ago, it was all we did was car crushes. You come out and you do over a set of cars and you wave to the crowd, and that was it. Well, now they're racing, and to me, I love it with all these other trucks here. They all have their own identities. They all have their own glitches that makes them faster than the other ones, supposedly. I love competing. I designed mine on computers. It's all done with the AutoCAD program, and to me, I think I can stay ahead of them. We're going to find out tonight whether I can or not.
And we certainly are. Bigfoot and Taurus. Let's check them out, see what the stats are like. 10,000 pounds for the Bigfoot Ford. It's powered by the Ford Hemi engine, putting out 1,400 horses. Taurus, again, 10,000 pounds, but this is Chevy powered. He has 1,200 horses. So Bigfoot has a little more power. Jack Willman Sr., he thinks he can take on the big, bad Ford. But Taurus definitely is taking his time in staging. They are finally staged. We're waiting for the start. Taurus, Bigfoot, off the line. Taurus gets a little bit of an edge. They go into the important turn. Bigfoot clears him, but Taurus has problems. I think he hit the turning pole. I think Taurus hit the turning pole. If he did, that disqualified him. Oh, man. He had it over Bigfoot, but the turn is what did it. Taurus is, in fact, disqualified. Here's where it happened. Going into the turn. Oh! Just too tight on that turn, and then he almost flips the truck over. He's set to go against Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher. Barefoot, the big Keith Black Hemi-powered Dodge, putting out 1,500 horses, and Gary Porter's Crusher, the big 557 Rodak, has 1,400. Gary Porter tells us what it takes to win in Pontiac.
In order to beat Barefoot here at Pontiac, I'm going to have to watch the light really close, try to get a hole shot on them, try to make plenty of power going down the front straightaway, stay into the throttle as long as I can, and then get hard on the brakes. I'm going to have to make the perfect turn and then get back into it full bore again to get the jump over the cars, because running against Fred Schaefer, there's no room for mistakes.
We have certainly seen our share of mistakes here, as everybody has problems on the turn. And up and around goes Gary Porter and Fred Schaefer. Barefoot and Carolina Crusher. Barefoot uses the extra 100 horsepower to win. 9.13 seconds. That's a record. We wait for the green light. Maximum Overkill. First blood on the line. They don't seem to have the power that some of the other trucks have going down the straightaway, but maybe that's because they want to make this turn properly. Maximum Overkill does, and he goes across the finish line first. Maximum Overkill is in the semis, and First Blood is out of there. Trucks will be for our semifinals. We're about to find out the fourth, Equalizer or Rambo. Now, Rambo, piloted by Bill Weaver Jr., is the heavier of the two, 14,000 pounds, powered by a 1,400 horsepower Chevy. Equalizer weighs in at 10,200 pounds. He has 1,300 horses, but he's much lighter. And the lighter you are, the faster you'll go. And that's what it's all about in monster truck racing. Not so much car crushing, but monster truck racing. They want to go fast. They want to stay on the car. If you're in the air, you're not winning. Even going down the straightaway, this is where the weight problem comes into effect. Equalizer, much lighter, makes it around the turn. Rambo really has to work to make it, and Equalizer gets the win. You could see Rambo bouncing around after the finish. Again, the weight factor. Monster Wars Invitationals. The best monster trucks in the world have been invited. We're down to the final four. And now we're going to bring them down to two. Maximum Overkill and Equalizer are lined up. Overkill, driven by Jerry Richmond, average time 10.52 seconds. David Morris has piloted the Equalizer with an average time of 9.52. 10,000-pound monster trucks putting out over 1,400 horsepower. But it's going to be who can tame that 1,400 horsepower and make it around that hairpin turn without a problem that wins it. Overkill and Equalizer. They are staged. They wait for the green light. And it's showtime at the Pontiac Silverdome. On the line, Equalizer with a slight hole shot. And now the important hairpin turn, Equalizer and Overkill. Overkill goes wide. Equalizer battles back and wins it. With a 1/10 of a second lead, your winner is Equalizer. Scripted this one any better as Barefoot and Bigfoot face off in front of this crowd in Pontiac. And this is where it all started. Barefoot, Fred Schaefer, average time 13.92 seconds. Andy Branson, Bigfoot, an average time of 9.44 seconds. This is not just a race to see who goes to the finals. This is for pride. And if anybody knows what it takes to beat Bigfoot, it's Fred Schaefer, and he tells us what he has to do.
Okay, this is what it's going to take for me to beat Bigfoot. When you come off the line there, you got a good straightaway, and you got to get a lot of speed up. If you hit the corner too fast, you're going to get on two wheels. You're going to have to let off of it, or you're going to get around that corner just right. He qualified real well here today. I think he qualified #1. So what we got to do is do everything right on this corner to get around that corner and let that horsepower work.
They are staged. Green light. Barefoot gets a hole shot, cuts a very good light. Bigfoot up and around. Barefoot, oh, he went over. He went over on those two tires. He's out of shape. He's out of it. Bigfoot wins it. Bigfoot wins it. 9.33 seconds. He takes out Barefoot. As 50,000 plus fans get on their feet for our Monster Wars finals between Bigfoot and Equalizer. And getting to the finals was no easy task. Bigfoot had a bye run in round 1, then defeated Taurus and Barefoot. Equalizer, he had to take out Rambo twice and then Maximum Overkill. But getting here is only part of it. You have to get the win. And both these trucks know a whole lot about winning. Bigfoot was our fastest qualifier, but David Morris drives the Equalizer faster each time he goes around this track. As they come up the stage, it's anybody's guess as to who our winner will be. They're staged, the green light, and Equalizer is first off the line. Bigfoot is catching up. They go into the turn. Equalizer takes it around. Bigfoot takes it around, but Bigfoot is powering up. Bigfoot gets the win! Bigfoot wins it in Pontiac! 8.92 seconds, a new track record! Your champion is Bigfoot! 4 times these two mighty monsters have met. Monster Patrol's only won it 1 time. Alan Pizzo drives Predator, qualified 7th today. But look at Paul Schaefer in Monster Patrol. He was the 2nd fastest qualifier on a very, very tough course here at the Pontiac Silverdome. There's a shot of Paul up in the cockpit. We are ready to go. Race #1, round #1. On the start, Predator with a hole shot. Monster Patrol battles back. It's Monster Patrol! Monster Patrol wins it in the World Finals against Predator.
and Predator was smoking at the end. 6 times these trucks have met this year. 5 times Equalizer has been victorious. Invader is driven by Ray Perkowski, qualified 8th today. 3rd in qualifying was the Equalizer with David Morris aboard. Early on in the season, when they raced for the first time, Invader rolled over. That's played heavy on Ray Perkowski's mind all year long. From inside the cab of Equalizer, David Morris taking a tough bounce. Whoa, he bounces all over the cab of that truck and wins the race. 4.50 seconds to Invader's 5.53. The replay shows Equalizer's hole shot of at least a half second. All season long, we talked about how important it was to get off the starting line right. Equalizer gets that win because of that hole shot. Wayne Smolzanek gets in position. Eldon Depew already has Taurus there. He waits for the green light. Showtime! Taurus with a hole shot. And what's happened to Tropical Thunder? He lost the transmission. He can only limp across the cars. Your winner is Eldon Depew. Carolina Crusher and Kodiak. What happens to Kodiak? He pulls to the line to stage and blows an engine. Bendler looks back at the engine smoking, and he gets unhooked. He says, I'm going to look at this one. Terry Porter's going to take a look. He goes, what happened to you, buddy? He's going to get a bye run. Carolina Crusher with the easiest run of his night. He gets a bye run. We're about to find out. Dennis Anderson aboard the Gravedigger qualified 6th today, but Fred Schaefer took Barefoot to 1st in qualifying. These 2 trucks have met 7 times this season. Gravedigger has only been victorious once. Dennis Anderson knew he'd probably have to meet Barefoot this year, but did he think it would happen in the first round?
All right. God dog. I didn't want to meet up the old big red Dodge first thing, but hey, man, I got to turn this old panel truck loose, go or blow, make it or break it.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. Make it or break it. On the start, Gravedigger pops a wheelie. Gravedigger gets a hole shot on the world champion. Dennis Anderson defeats Barefoot. The Gravedigger wins. The big Dodge can't believe he lost as he leaves the track. On the starting line, Dennis Anderson, very, very quick on the line. He pops a wheelie, and it's all Gravedigger from there on out. Matter of fact, he may have been too quick on the light. It seems as though there's a bit of a controversy, and Dennis Anderson, who's been known to do it before, may have red lighted. He's with Jim Davidson.
Dennis, I know you just got back here in the pits after running Fred. Totally blew him away, my friend, but they're reviewing it right now. You may have red lighted. What happened at the line?
I don't know. I was trying to cut a good light, but I honestly don't think I've red lighted, you know. I know the truck's hooking up good and it moves as soon as you touch it, but I don't know. They better look close because I don't think it's a red light.
Rich Mike, what's the story?
They just reviewed the tape in the truck, and Dennis, it was official red light.
Dennis?
I don't know, man. I tell you, it's a bummer. I want to see that video. They're going to have to prove it to me because I ain't going to take that.
You've been running hard all year, my friend. We'll see what we can do.
Well, Dennis, let's all look at it. You did, in fact, red light, buddy. A full half-second start before Barefoot got the green light. You won the race, but you lost it. You're disqualified because of the red light. Fred Schaefer already won the World Championship aboard Barefoot. He'd love to get a win now against Predator. 1,500 horsepower, the Keith Black Hemi Dodge, his power plant. Predator, 10,010 pounds, Chevy-powered, 1,800 horses. That is, in fact, 300 more than Barefoot. Dodge against Chevy for this matchup, and inside the cab of Barefoot. Fred Schaefer takes us for a ride. Predator gets the hole shot, but again, the world champion comes from behind, as we've seen him do so many times this year. Barefoot gets the win. Stage, let's go up inside the cockpit of Equalizer with David Morris for the start of this race. Power up, green light. Whoa, could you feel the landing? Equalizer wins it. Watch out for the wall, David.
What the hell we done at that time? I believe we took that win.
I believe you did too, David. And what a strange twist of fate here. Invader could not meet the gun. Carolina Crusher got a bye run, automatically moves to the semifinals. If that's not bad enough, Monster Patrol gets a bye run when Tropical Thunder can't start. So Monster Patrol is in the semifinals. Tropical Thunder's being towed back to the pits as we reorganize things for the semis. The two trucks in the semifinals, Barefoot and Equalizer, have raced all year long. 9 times they've met. Barefoot's been victorious 6 of those. Equalizer, David Morris, average time 4.28 seconds on this track. Fred Schaefer's taken Barefoot to an average time of 4.36. Equalizer actually faster. On the start, Equalizer with a hole shot. Can Barefoot catch up? Yes, just barely. Just barely. Barefoot by 0.03 of a second defeats Equalizer. Monster Patrol comes up to the line. You know, he started this year very, very late. He entered about 1 month into the action, and he certainly has done a super job. But his competition, the old-timer, Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher, averaging 4.72 seconds in this track. Monster Patrol, 4.38 seconds. They line up, wait for the green light. Carolina Crusher with a hole shot. And look at Monster Patrol. He comes from behind. Monster Patrol defeats Carolina Crusher. Monster Patrol goes against Barefoot in our final. An incredible rookie season for Paul Schaefer and Monster Patrol. The end of a season and a world championship for Fred Schaefer already wrapped up. But now, the old-timer, Fred Schaefer, one of the creators of this sport, has to go against the newcomer, Paul Schaefer, no relation, in the incredible Monster Patrol. Monster Patrol got to the finals by taking out Predator, Tropical Thunder, and Carolina Crusher. Barefoot, he took out Gravedigger early on, then Predator and Equalizer. And now the two line up, the rookie and the old-timer, Barefoot and Monster Patrol. Nobody in their right mind would dare not sit still and watch this race, because this is what monster truck racing is all about. Can the rookie take out the world champion? On the start, it is Monster Patrol with the hole shot. Barefoot fights. He can't do it. He can't do it. An incredible season for Monster Patrol. He just defeated the world champion.
The Chevrolet, the Auto Value Chevrolet, takes on the Dodge Express. Here we go. Monster Challenge one more time. And a good shot. Oh, look out. Ken Deppy goes right over. Unbelievable. Ken Deppy tried to take care of the Moguls, and the Moguls took care of him. Incredible.
It was October 1993, inside the Pontiac Silverdome, when Ken Deppy and Rampage were coming through the whoop section. The front wheels of the Dodge Express got hooked in the dirt, and he crashed this one hard in front of 40,000 spectators.
Ken Deppy tried to take care of the Moguls, and the Moguls took care of him.
I stayed in the power hoping that the front end would bring itself back out, but it's too far over the front wheels. I just watched on the video. Front wheels are spinning hard, but they weren't touching the dirt.
We may have some body damage. We may have a little more than that, but the number one thing is you're okay. One more time for Ken Deppy and the big Dodge Express.
Here we go, the War Wagon. And Cook, let's watch it. Going through, bouncing it through, it is Mark Hall moving first. It's the Executioner. Now let's, oh, the War Wagon almost going over. And it's going to be all Hall. A great run for Mark Hall and the Executioner. RPM's up. Let's watch as the Hyperactive takes on Excalibur. Oh, Charlie blocking with big air. But look at him, he just stays on it. Blocking riding the side. Now, can he bring it in? Blocking, recorrects, brings it home. Excalibur! What a job of driving. It's Rock and Race at the Dome. It is Chevrolet moving first, but here comes Fodders. Michael Fodders! It's even at this point. It will be Chevrolet making the turn first. Michael Fodders trying to come in. Win goes Chevrolet! Mike. Chevrolet wins.
Pamela and Mike Fodders are husband and wife. He drives Italian, and she the Boogie Band. When they're not racing, they're like any other married couple. But when they take to the track, the competition really heats up.
As for Pam, the thrill is in the winning.
against Fred Schaefer, and we knew we were going to have to run hard and step up the program. And we actually stepped up the program so much that we tried to do a triple jump, and it just quite didn't work out. We caught the last jump just at the wrong timing, and I actually got into it, and when the Firestones touched down, all it did was pick up and ride a wheelie. The wheelie actually went so far back, I tore the tailgate, the bed sides off, and through that process ended up hitting the wall, which I'm sure the Silverdome wasn't very happy about, but neither were we at that time. Over.
Minor injuries, but her truck would need over $10,000 in repairs.
You know, I hit third gear and I landed on the concrete, and I don't know if the throttle stuck or what it was, but I went for the brakes, had nothing. It was just a big mess.
I'll tell you what, you hit that wall hard. I'm just glad it seems like you're all right.
Gary Wiggins in the Carolina Crusher. Pontiac, you got to make a little bit of noise. Gary Wiggins out of Wadesboro, North Carolina. Gary Porter just coming out just because he wants to run for you. Come on, Pontiac, let me hear it. Gary Wiggins in the Carolina Crusher. Well, you knew the Elmer's glue was only going to hold on so long. Pontiac, I can't hear you. Come on, Pontiac, I know you're louder than that. I said I want to hear some noise. I'll tell you what, it was not the smoothest ride for Eldon Depew, but the win will go to the Tourist. Carolina Crusher in the left-hand lane, the right-hand lane, the Reptoid. How many people are pulling for the Hard Luck Kid, Jim Jack, and the Reptoid? Who's pulling for the Carolina Crusher? All right, Pontiac, the louder you are. I've told you all night, the wilder it's going to get. I can't hear you. And the winner goes to Carolina Crusher. Who's pulling for the Nightmare? Who's pulling for the Predator? All over the Nightmare. Taking it over to the left-hand lane, Chuck Jordan in the Survivor. Brand new version of this truck for 96. In the right-hand lane, ladies and gentlemen, the Gravedigger! Remember, the winner transfers into round number 2. A loser will go to the pit area. Pontiac, you're way too quiet tonight. I gotta hear some Pontiac noise. Robert Parker every which way but loose. How many people are pulling for the Taurus? Who's pulling for the Carolina Crusher? Well, you can put that streak to bed. The win will go to the Taurus. Eldon Depew's going to the final. Nightmare 2 out of Vienna, Ohio. Gary Bauer in the right-hand lane. Rap Attack, Dave Rappage. Also out of Vienna, Ohio, the Battle of the Vienna Boys. All right, it's the Nightmare 2 in the right-hand lane. Gary Bauer out of Vienna, Ohio. Who will he be going against? I've told you all night, Pontiac, that the louder you are, the wilder it's going to get, and I can't hear you. Eldon Depew in the Taurus. Taking on the left-hand lane. Semi-final action. Ford versus GMC. The Ford in the right-hand lane, the Nightmare. The GMC of the Taurus. Who's pulling for the Taurus? Who's pulling for the Nightmare? Semi-final round. Come on, Pontiac, I can't hear you. Pontiac, are you ready? No doubt about it. Eldon Depew and the Taurus are going to the final round. The win will go to the Taurus. Fred Schaefer locks it into the barefoot. Robert Parker already behind the wheel and on the line and ready to go. Pontiac, let me hear you. Who's pulling for the Gravedigger? Final race of the night. Hold on to your seat. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Eldon Depew and the Taurus, tonight's winner.
Yeah, we talked about putting him in a hole, and only grave he dug tonight was his own.
I'll tell you what, it was a good race, a great race, actually. I know you had problems with the rear steer. It looked like it just broke loose.
Yeah, it broke loose when I come over this first hump. I didn't think I was going to get it corrected over here, but, you know, Ellen and all these guys out here are tough to beat, you know. Just like to thank all the fans for coming out. Appreciate y'all being here, Pontiac. We'll be back next time.
Over 58,000 fans were all smiles inside the Pontiac Silverdome as 13 top trucks invaded the Motor City. In round 2, Alan Tura and his jet-powered G-Force just couldn't rock it by Brian Walsh driving Monster Patrol. Patrol is a little shaky over the crush cars, but is able to move to the next round against the all-new Wild Thing. Todd Frolic and Barefoot were out of the running early when the Dodge has trouble handling the back end and trashes it against Barbarian.
It just happened so fast. I know it was a little crooked coming over that first set, and I got back after it, and it just went crooked from there.
After knocking out Monster Patrol, fan favorite Tony Farrell and Wild Thing moved on to the semifinal round against hometown hero Predator. Coming over the crush cars, Predator wasn't pretty, but it was good enough to advance to the final round against Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger. In typical Digger fashion, Anderson knocks out Warlock, Thrasher, and then Nightmare 2 to earn his place in the final. Predator looked smooth coming off the start, but had too much wheel spin coming off the corner. That opened the door for the Gravedigger, who slides the 1950 Chevy home for the win.
But I tell you what, man, Predator's been running real good all night. We all been kind of crossed up on a rear steer out here. We're kind of rusty on it, you know, and heck, man, we're working on this new truck. Every round you can see us down there thrashing on the shocks. When we get this whole mess straightened out, it'll be tough to beat.
The fans at the Pontiac Silverdome wanted one thing from their monsters. Big air. Sure, Barry Sanders ran for 2,000 yards in the dome, but how far can he jump? Get ready for some high-flying action as the monsters attempt a landmark of their own with a jump-off contest in the house that Barry built. Andy Hoffman in Nightmare takes a pop. Unfortunately, nothing serious. Eric Meager powered his big foot forward to an incredible 82-footer on the straight line jump to put himself ahead of the pack. But in the end, it would be Todd Frolic and Barefoot sailing to victory on this breathtaking 86-foot flight that would have made the Wright brothers proud. Congratulations to the Big Dodge with the victory. But the night wasn't over just yet. Tom Manson, the Monster Patrol, had come out earlier with a third place in the jump-off at 75 feet. Well, Tom, after that, decided it was time for an impromptu freestyle for the fans. And believe me, they couldn't get enough.
USHRA Monster Jam roared into Pontiac, Michigan, and the Monster Machines wasted no time in delivering the thrills and spills. Whoa! Liquidator and Gravedigger settled in for a hard fight in the finals, with the Digger crossing the line in front.